2 years' life returned to a semblance of normalcy for the Huas. About the fateful night of Heroes' Day, they moved on. They never forgot, and never, ever, would forget, but they moved on. The next few years markedly showed, in accordance to Naruto's new resolve, a number of interesting developments. Jiraiya, of course, trained Naruto, for real, as opposed to merely leaving him with a few frogs to spar against. However, even so, Jiraiya would always stay only Jiraiya. And while each of Jiraiya's training methods did have actual benefits, arguments would often break out over the efficiencies of some of these methods. Okay, kid. Today let's work on stealth. Wait, Naruto immediately interrupted. Is this actual stealth training, or is this try to get Naruto to help me peek on the hot springs and call it stealth training? Jiraiya looked at his pupil as he carefully considered the question. Is there a difference? Ero uncle, the student growled menacingly, you damn perverted, useless sensei. Like I'd go along with crap like that. Don't lower me to your level. The frog Sannon looked both incredulous and insulted. Are you questioning my training methods? A student should just sit quietly and learn, he demanded imperially. Naruto glared angrily. What the hell? I'm definitely questioning your training methods. I'm telling you that I don't want to learn your peeking skills in the first place. Stealth? Fine. But for the love of God, why did this guy have to sneak peeking in along with any and dollar action he could manage to? Wait, was he just trying to piss Naruto off? Since it was a pervert like his uncle, he really couldn't tell. But, before all else, he was his mother's son and endeavored to advance in her medical teachings. Well, though every now and then a distraction would arise. All right Naru-chan, what's here? Tsunade asked, pointing to a body-sized picture of the human body. What? Naruto said flatly. Skin, you idiot, you know what I mean. Someone's neck, that's it. Tsunade howled as if she'd been pushed to the edge of her tolerance and then been shoulder-charged off that edge by Gamabunta. You've been pissing me off all day. Explain yourself or be noogied all to hell. It was as if Naruto was waiting for this as some form of cue. Acting like you don't know, Car-chan, the blonde ground his teeth. Tsunade's sigh was a tired and defeated one. Damn it Naru-chan, I was going to pay you back. Really, she already felt guilty about it. Would the brat just let it go? My money. You took my money. You're as bad as Ero uncle. Naruto was practically hysteric. I still can't believe it. Look. The mother's flustered voice revealed her discomfort. I told you I was only borrowing it. You have so plus and dollar hash. Much. I don't even know how you noticed I took any. Indeed, Naruto had, when he was younger, been allowed into a gambling establishment and walked away several pounds heavier, in cash. He'd let his Nei-chan use most of it to clear off no insubstantial number of debts, but he'd kept a portion of it to himself. Henceforth, this secretly hidden stash had been named the Naruto Ramen and Awesome Stuff Reserve. Truly, it was a sacred and wonderful thing. And to take from this, the most cherished of cherishable stashes of money, was an unforgivable offense indeed. But I needed some sake money, Tsunade almost pleaded, almost, and it was hardly anything. No one touches the Naruto Ramen and Awesome Stuff Reserve, he informed her gravely. It was a 500 yen coin. No one, you. This is, Tsunade, Sannon, mother, and veritable god of medic nins the world over, spluttered indignantly for a response. And besides, you're my precious Car-chan, and I love you. But, Naruto muttered darkly, are you expecting me to believe in your ability to pay off debts? What the hell kind of idiot do you think I am? Are you saying I can't even pay back my own son? Tsunade was incensed. If you have it, then give it to me, Naruto demanded. What? That? A short, ominous silence filled the room. Later? I'll give it to you later. You don't have it. Naruto vindictively shouted. You definitely don't have it. Shut up. I'll give it to you later, so sit down and tell me which organ is here. She jabbed her finger at the picture once more, as if she was stabbing it. The slug Sannon then preempted her son's demands, which she knew were coming. And I promise as your mother, I won't touch your stupid money reserve without permission again." That stopped him cold. Naruto blinked, surprised, before sighing and sitting down again passively, still faintly annoyed, but passively, willing to let that be the end of it for now. The parathyroid glands. "And what do they do?" Tsunade asked in a lecturing tone. She was glad to get that conversation behind her. Honestly, taking 500 yen and replacing it before he noticed, it seemed painfully easy and harmless at the time. Come to think of it, she should have cast a and hash and genjutsu on the stupid bag right from the start. Well, it didn't matter anymore. She always kept her promises to Naruto. It was why her promises to him were so scarce in the first place. She'd simply never break one. She'd break her own arm first. She could heal her arm. If it was her heart or her son's trust, she wasn't so sure. Parathyroid hormone. It increases the calcium concentration in the blood. Naruto stated simply. Too easy. Tsunade snapped out of her briefly wandering thoughts. What? Yeah, and here. The heart. It pumps blood throughout the body's arteries and veins. Why the hell are you asking such an easy question? These are important. Each organ has its own function. If someone suffers internal injury and you only know the symptoms, then you need to be able to connect that symptom to an imbalance in their bodies and know which organs were hit right away. Tsunade barked. It should take you 1 second. No, if you're going to be a medic on the field, it should take you less than 1 second. Anything less is a half-assed medic nin. Now again, and faster. What's here? Naruto got it. Someone's life could depend on this. The gallbladder. It stores about 50 milliliters of bile for the digestion of fats. Not enough. What are the properties of bile? And so it continued. Being a medic nin was more than just knowing enough ijutsu, it was a matter of knowledge of the human body. Incidentally, Tsunade did in fact pay Naruto his 500 yen back at dinner that night, though a particular incident overshadowed that event. She then gave Shizune an IOU note made out to a local noble family worth 500 yen to put with her other debt papers. Naruto's greatest progress was in his chakra control. Having struggled with that issue his whole life, being told that he was growing at a far above average rate was something that flooded him with awe, pride, and perhaps most dominantly, relief. Life was not moving on merely for the Huas, however. Back in the village of Konoha, life had progressed as well. Fire Country, Konoha X, Ino-chan. A bubblegum-haired girl called out, "Over here." The blonde girl sighed and made her way over to the swings where her 2-year friend Sakura sat waiting. "What were you thinking about?" the curious pink-haired girl asked as her once bully took the swing seat beside her. Neither girl was actually using the swing to swing, but it was somewhere to sit this lazy afternoon. "It's like you're always daydreaming nowadays." "Not always," was the stubborn, immediate response. Okay, Sakura placated. The girl looked a far cry from how she'd been 2 years ago, mostly courtesy of Ino herself. Most notably, her hair now framed her face in a way that didn't have her forehead painted with a figurative "bully me" sign. Ino's friends took this time to appear on the scene and amicably take up spots sitting on the grass or against the nearby trees. "Hey everyone," one girl spoke up victoriously. "I saw Sasuke-kun today." The girl yelled triumphantly. All girl chatter ceased and attention was summarily diverted towards the girl. In a blink, the exited children crowded her, gossip engines running full throttle. The girls seemed to brighten up at the name, minus the notable exception of Ino. "Sasuke?" Sakura asked eagerly. "You mean Uchiha Sasuke, the last Uchiha?" "Wow. What was he like? What was he doing?" an exited black-haired girl asked. "He was shopping for vegetables," the first girl informed. Gasps were heard all around, as if this was some strange, epic development. "So he likes vegetables. Did you talk to him?" another excitedly asked. "Oh no, I couldn't." Uchiha Sasuke, Ino vaguely pondered the name. 3 months ago, a terrifying Uchiha prodigy had apparently gone insane and killed his own clan members. Now only Sasuke was left. The event was being called the Uchiha Massacre, and was yet still the talk of the town. Of course it would be. The Uchihas had made up most of the police force. The lack of their presence on the streets was an easily identifiable thing, even for 8 or 9-year-olds such as themselves. Uchiha Sasuke, the last Uchiha, the child that insisted to live on his own inside that huge Uchiha complex. Everyone spoke of him. All the adults did nothing but sympathize and praise him. Sometimes, the crowd would part for him, or he'd be escorted to eat for free someplace. An independent, quiet, and, according to just about everybody, perfect boy. No wonder he was a hot topic. He was like a real-life fairy tale prince. Ooh, maybe I should become a ninja after all, the brunette lamented. Sasuke-kun's in the ninja academy already. I want to go too. You can't. It's really tough if your parents aren't ninjas, you know. This Uchiha Sasuke situation, normally she'd be all excited about it as well. He was their age after all. He could be her Prince Charming, her knight in shining armor. On top of that, he was the #1 popular topic right now. And Ino had a long history of being on the leading edge of such things. But somehow, she just couldn't share Sakura's or the others' enthusiasm. Uchiha Sasuke, really, he seemed so fantastic, but the fact was she didn't like him. She'd seen him around, but he was so cold, and seemed so far away. He didn't seem like the kind of person she could look on as an equal. No, maybe he would even be someone she'd look at as a superior. When everyone else started talking about lovey-dovey stuff regarding Uchiha Sasuke, she kept thinking of that blonde-haired boy who'd stood up to her 2 years ago. If he were here, she could probably argue and talk with him, no problem. She wouldn't have to watch her words or change her hair for him. Strangely, that just seemed more appealing, somehow. She couldn't explain it. Was she being lazy? These thoughts often occupied her. People kept saying that she was looking quite thoughtful all the time. Ino-chan, Sakura called. Snapping back to reality, it seemed that all of Ino's, sometimes friends, and Sakura, her only constant friend, were up and ready to leave. Ino-chan, let's go. Sakura motioned to the other girls, who were walking away. Without a doubt, Sakura wasn't impressive enough to hang out with such cool kids on her own. What she did have going for her was that she was the only person that Ino hung out with any kind of consistency. And Ino was, basically, popular enough for the both of them. No, I'm not coming today, Ino responded, not getting up from the swing. A brief silence hung in the air, one of contemplation. Hey Sakura, do you remember the day we became friends? Sakura jolted, startled. Huh? You mean at the sandbox? Sakura was half surprised, half bewildered. Where had that come from? Yeah, I'd been looking around for that blonde friend of yours but couldn't find him anywhere, Ino thought back. So then I asked you about him. I remember, I told you about the festival, Sakura reminisced. And do you remember about how he told you to wait somewhere before he went onto the stage, right? Ino pressed. Sakura easily nodded to her question. And you used to go back to that spot and wait around there for hours all the time. Now Sakura was embarrassed. She fixed her gaze by her feet. Yeah. Why did you do it? Ino asked sharply, as if she were impatient. What? Well, I don't know. It's just, Naruto-kun did so much for me, but I couldn't do anything for him. Sakura's embarrassment was overshadowed now by a distant but enduring sadness. The only thing I could do, the only thing he asked me to do, was to wait there for him. That sad look there, Ino recalled, that exact same look 2 years ago was what caused her to suddenly think that Sakura was worth helping out. And from there, a friendship had grown. A very impatient voice grabbed Sakura's attention. Sakura-chan, are you coming with us or not? Is Ino-chan coming? Sakura hastily ran to meet them. No, sorry. Ino-chan isn't coming, but I'm coming. She looked back and waved. Bye Ino-chan. Ino waved back and watched the girl leave, one question still weighing on her mind. Sakura, but then why don't I see you there anymore? For the Huas, in their travels, finally made their way outside of Fire Country. There were 2 reasons for this. Firstly, Tsunade deemed Naruto competent enough to travel to these new countries without things being overly dangerous. He was 8 now. Secondly, There was a need to assess Shizune's practical skill level against foreign diseases. This led to the Huas visiting Grass Country to cure a wealthy merchant, who demanded only the best but had, in the face of his death, managed to settle for the best's assistant. Next on the Hanoyu's list of locations was Wind Country. Among the less worldly educated, a series of particular questions are of unending confusion and amusement. These were questions surrounding the seemingly mismatched naming of other countries. For instance, why exactly is Wind Country called such, when it is clearly much hotter than Fire Country? Naruto, age 8, mused on a great conundrum as he walked alongside his Ka-chan and Nei-chan. As Naruto glanced around at the swirling sands of Wind Country, he realized something. Wind Country really was hot as hell, but it could never be called Fire Country. Indeed, while the heat was truly blistering, fire had no actual place here, for there was nothing to burn. There was simply not enough greenery for fuel in a place as barren as this. Naruto squinted against the harsh wind, which was carrying sand into the air and proved to obscure vision, among doing other things. A white cloth, longer than any scarf, was wrapped around his head and acted as protection from the sun as well as a filter to keep the restless sands out of the young boy's lungs. The rest of his immediate family wore the same. So this is Wind Country, it lives up to its name, as Ka-chan had said. It's unreal. Does the wind really never change direction? It always blows towards the northeast, away from the heart of the country. If a force were to invade, between fighting against the sand and the wind just to reach the village, they'd be dead on their feet by the time they reached halfway to the front gates. And if sand shinobi were mobilized to meet the invaders, they would only have the wind at their backs. It's a natural defensive and offensive advantage. Naruto gritted his teeth. This damn sand, if only it were harder and his foot didn't sink into it all the damn time. Shizune's eyes widened in shock, seeing her Otautu take another heavy step in front of her to stand on top of the sand, and stay there. Shizune, confused and unsure, watched her own footing as she stepped forwards, but was only rewarded with her right leg sinking into the sand under her weight, as always. Her head snapped hastily up to meet the back of her adopted younger brother again. "No, you're not hallucinating, Shizune." Tsunade's muffled voice barely made its way to her apprentice's ears. The woman was looking at her adopted son with fondness and pride. She felt an unreasonable urge to brag to somebody. "That's the real thing." "But Tsunade-sama," Shizune protested. Walking on sand without sinking in was nothing like walking on water. In the end, walking on water was simply a matter of pushing the right quantity of chakra out of your feet, so that you were pushed above it. Doing such a thing on top of sand would do nothing more than send the sand under your feet spraying in all directions as if a fan was strapped to your leg. To walk on sand as without sinking in at all, it involved pushing the chakra out of your feet and grabbing not only the sand, but any gaps of air between the sand and holding everything together, before your foot even lands. It was a technique designed for the desert. Once a person's foot sunk into the sand, no matter how slightly, physical energy and speed were lost. Shizune's eyes were pleading for reason. "That's a B-rank Chunin technique." Tsunade quirked her eyebrow. Though she could definitely understand her assistant's confusion, it was a difficult thing to accept, but honestly, her apprentice should be better than this. "It's not like we can't do it too, Shizune." Shizune absently stepped onto the sand as well. Yes, she could do it with ease, that was true. Even sand Junins might have difficulty with this act, but it was a matter of chakra manipulation, and in this field Shizune stood far above normal people. Yet she'd had training, and a full day to get it right. But without any training at all, Naruto-kun just did it so suddenly. As if it were nothing. Hearing this, Tsunade was shocked. "No, not about Naruto. I can't believe this. You still don't get it. The rules of chakra manipulation that Naruto follows are completely separate from the rules that anyone else uses." Tsunade sighed. "It's always been that way." "I guess, but it's always strange to think that it could be so drastic. He's come so far in these past 2 years." "It's not that it's drastic," Tsunade growled, attempting to drill this point home once and for all. "It's that your subconscious keeps thinking his growth should slow down already, but it barely does." This was her genius apprentice. Tsunade made a face. And why the hell are we talking about this at a time like now? Don't forget why we're trekking through this god-forsaken desert in the first place, Tsunade reminded. It's time for your final exams. Indeed. Shizune considered herself Tsunade's apprentice for some time now, and would remain so in the future. However, she was still, unfortunately, considered a student in Tsunade's eyes, rather than a medic enon. A strange notion, considering the black-haired woman's capabilities. The fact was, however, that Tsunade's personal beliefs on what a medic nin should actually be capable of were set quite high. And until Shizune completed this last step, on her own, her mentor would never accept her as a medic nin straight until the day she died. The first test was cleared. Treat a patient in another country, using only local ingredients for the crafting of medicine. Since Naruto was old enough to travel to new countries, she'd finally completed this step. The second one, the harder one, was all that remained. 4x Wind Country, Sunagakure X2 guards stood watch diligently by the gates of Sunagakure, the hidden village of sand. They didn't speak a single word to each other. This was not due to a rigid adherence to duty, as Suna might have other villagers believe. It wasn't even because they were sulking or silent types by nature. The fact was, they didn't trust each other at all. Was this strange? No. In Sunagakure, everyone was afraid of each other. It was ingrained into their bones. The common, silent belief of every person in the village went something like this. It was a village of selfish backstabbers that would do anything for the sake of improving their own lives. But then, it was a harsh and poor life in this village. The pain of monotonous, constant poverty had driven neighbors to each other's thoughts repeatedly. Only the children and those that were drunk on alcohol were spared from the mental taint upon this village, to a point. Just how much of that belief was exaggeration of the truth, and how much of that was reality in itself? Squinting into the distance, the guards spotted an anomaly. People approached from the northeast, where they would have to battle the famed winds of their country head-on. The rightmost guard brought out a small telescope. What could it be? Perhaps they were survivors of a caravan that had been swallowed by a sandstorm. There was a child with them, walking on his own. A mere child walking through the vast and brutal desert. Ninjas, most certainly, and no average ones either. He was focusing on the following woman's face when her hawk-like gaze snapped directly to him. "Shit!" the guard uncharacteristically exclaimed, stumbling backwards. Did she see him from that distance? For Tsunade increased her pace and walked beside her son. She was going to say something, but was predictably cut off. "Are we there yet?" the boy asked, mirroring a key phrase spoken by children throughout the generations. "For the last time, brat, shut up and have some patience," Tsunade demanded for the umpteenth time. "And yes, thank God we're almost there. I can get away from your noisy self and grab some sake. The guards have probably already seen us," Tsunade added. "It's not easy to see it, but we're going too far north. We're going to angle south now, so just follow me like the patient child that I always wished you would grow up into but never did." "What was that?" came the indignant, if muffled reply. "Say that again, Car-chan, I dare you." "Oh, drop it. It's too damn hot to argue. Like hell I'll drop it. I'm patient," the boy insisted, still muffled by the cloth around his head. "I'm the most, and $and patient child in the whole damn world. I put up with you, don't I?" "You brat." Tsunade rounded on her son and prepared to sock him with one hell of a punch, but the heat stole her passion and she soon lowered her vengeful fists. "Ugh, it's too hot for this," she reiterated. Her next words were snapped. "Oh, and brat. Lift up that cloth." "Huh?" Naruto sounded. "You mean I can take this stupid thing off? Yes." "No, Naruto-kun," Shizune interrupted quickly, instantly beside her Otautu as well. "It protects you from the sun," she pleaded. "Just lift it enough to show them your forehead, okay?" The two identifying symbols of the slug Sanin were, without a doubt, the diamond mark on her forehead and the kanji on her coat. Oh, Naruto blinked. "You mean this thing, huh?" he asked, doing as he was asked and revealing the blue diamond mark on his own forehead, the one usually hidden by his messy hair. it being a deeper blue than his mother's. 10-year-old Sakyu Temari walked casually through the streets, an in-training version of the standard Suna battle fan being carried on her back. Though she was small, she was recognized as the Kazekage's daughter and was silently deferred to as she always was. Oh, it gave her no special privilege. Nothing came for free in Sunagakure, but she was treated with the respect that was due to her. Perhaps it was some kind of vain attempt by the cosmos to balance the good with the hellishly bad in her life. Temari's father was a downright cold and distant bastard even by Suna standards, and her youngest brother was a maniacal killer born from the death of their mother and the sealing of a demon, bringing forth a perversion of nature which even her father feared and hated. These were constants in her life, and she could properly surmise that, due to living with Gaara, the Sakyu family was the most frightened family in Sunagakure. Oh, such a prestigious award. But these were still constants. It was normal for her to fear her brother, bearing no comfort from his presence. It was normal to feel that, as the boy's sister, she ought to reach out to him, but it was also normal for her to note that such an act would spell death and pain. But on top of all the everyday shit she routinely put up with, now Kankuro, her other brother, was wearing face paint that she suspected was supposed to make him look like a kabuki actor, but did in fact look eerily closer to makeup, and was now obsessing over a stupid marionette doll. Honestly, this whole world was going insane. Proof of ID? Came a voice filled with bland amusement. Temari looked up from the stall selling cloths for kimono obi. It seemed someone was at the east gate. A tall blonde woman stood haughtily with another woman and a child waiting behind her. Proof of ID? Tsunade sounded vaguely amused, with an undertone of annoyance. That guard had been rude as hell. Who did he think she was? Oh, he was in for some pain. Shizune watched the scene unfold yet again. Naruto, used to this, tapped his foot impatiently and wished his mother would just get it over with. Was this becoming some kind of twisted ritual, he wondered. Hey, alright you uncouth bastards. Here is, in a flash of movement, her fist was inches in front of the stunned guard, my proof of ID. Flick. Naruto watched the predictable event. And now the guard sail ouch. Right into the building. Alright, the other guard responded, unnerved. That will suffice, Tsunade-san. Tsunade cocked an eyebrow. S-sama, Tsunade-sama, the guard corrected himself, fearing for his health. Yet he did not feel the killer intent lesson. H-heim. Tsunade-heim. Please follow me, Tsunade-heim. The slug Sanon lost interest in the guard at that point. Just lead me to your Kazekage. We're here on personal business. Naru-chan, you want to come? The meeting with the Kazekage was a brief one, there not being much to discuss and the Kazekage not being the type that could muster enough humility as to be a pleasant host. Final exam? The Kazekage's hard voice inquired, lacking humane levels of emotion behind it. Tsunade wasn't fazed. Yes. Why come here? Why? We're here, Tsunade said in pure business tones, for the Shiju family. The Kazekage took a deep breath and leaned back, disguising his surprise. To have curing a new, deadly sickness as your final exam, you're in a class of your own, as expected. Very well. It's an honor to have you reside in Sunagakure. But though the Kazekage's words were polite, they sounded as if they were forcefully pulled from his thought. Frankly, Tsunade didn't care at all. Well, we have permission now. Why don't you go play or something, brat? All that's left is to iron out the details. Unknown to Naruto, Temari, most analytical of the Sand siblings, had received a discreet command from their father to follow Naruto and befriend him. It was an information-gathering mission. The fact was that family meant little to the Kazekage, and he sought to implement his children as tools where he could. Temari knew why she was chosen. How could she not? Her analytical mind surpassed Kankuro's and, indeed, anyone else in their age bracket. She'd met this Ho-Oh Naruto, the boy easy to identify as she'd spied him at the village gate before. He'd been tending to a dog, of all things, with a care and precision that seemed out of place for the sake of a mere stray mongrel. He'd turned, seen her, had been confused to hear that she wanted to talk to him, but was clearly interested to hear that she'd proposed a game. The pair sat in the shade of a building, their backs against its wall. Well, Naruto inquired of this strange girl that had not showed him even one genuine smile, even when asking, telling him to play a game with her. What do you wanna play? Temari hesitated. Dare she be so obvious about it? No, even if he suspected something, it wasn't an unusual suggestion, wasn't something that she couldn't explain away. Temari licked her lips. Truth or dare? 2 hours later, she couldn't believe it. They had played truth or dare for all of an hour. It was ridiculous. More ridiculous was that, during that time, Naruto hadn't picked truth, even once. From that 1-hour game, what technical specifics she learned about him. Some of the most important discoveries were that he could rub his stomach and pat his head at the same time, was able to multitask several other strange and complicated motions, and that he could do both cartwheels and a fairly good chicken impression. That was it. Whereas he now knew that she had at one point owned a teddy bear, she secretly liked kimonos but didn't own one, and that the reason she kept her hair in pigtails was because it would otherwise resemble something he'd laughingly called a spiky afro. However, during conversation with him as they'd played this game, and now as they merely sat and they talked about Tsunade, she'd learned much more. To her, Naruto was open, yes, sometimes painfully so, painful to her, that is. He held no qualms about telling her she was being stupid or mean, and he absolutely wouldn't stand for it without one hell of a fight. He was so brave that he could pick dare every time and, when he was dared to, would hop on one foot, hold the other with his left hand, balance her fan in the palm of her right, stick out his tongue, and whistle, "Mary had a little lamb," all at the same time. Oh, he'd complained, he'd sworn at her too, something she'd learned to get used to. His anger had been obvious and he'd pointed out using highly creative terms that it wasn't fair, but then, that had been the point. Yet her impossible dare hadn't deterred him a bit. Naruto, Temari realized, wasn't a naive or foolish character. He was simply a very strong and perhaps stubborn character. Besides, he had, after 20 tries and subsequent falls, managed to do her impossible dare, whistling and all. Though she wasn't so foolish as to think she couldn't be wrong after knowing the boy for only an hour or two. No, but she was probably close to the truth. She wondered if her father would want to report on Naruto, but soon stopped that train of thought when the boy in question proposed a game of hide and seek. It may have been a mission at first, but he was her friend now, despite the 2 years she had on him. Yes, his bluntness could annoy her, but it was also refreshing. He was very trustworthy. Or rather, she could trust him to plainly show his intentions or views without bothering to cover anything up. The question was he like that with everyone, or only with people he deemed were not a threat? A small, red-haired child stood a far way detached from the scene but watching ever so intensely. His body was half hidden by the wall of a building he stood behind, such that the kanji for "I" on his right forehead was blocked from view. His eyes tracked the new addition to his village intently. He reached up and tentatively tuffed the red kanji distractedly. Love only yourself. Live only for yourself. These were the things his Ka-chan said on her deathbed, and the voice in his mind, his mother, had hissed as the sand turned on him and carved the message into his flesh not so long ago. But maybe that new boy, the loud and bright one, would let him play with him. Maybe it was just so hard to be all alone, and maybe they would let him play. Gaara didn't smile at the thought. He was a child who had forgotten how to smile. And he knew well and deeply that no one would ever let him play with them. Everyone, every single person he'd ever met, had been afraid of him, afraid that he'd kill them. And the voice in his mind, mother, kept telling him to kill everyone. Even his uncle, the only one to ever acknowledge him, had revealed his actions as a purely fake ploy and cursed Gaara's existence. Everyone kept treating him as if he was there to kill them all. But he didn't really want to hurt anyone. He didn't want to be a monster. Could there be another purpose to exist for him? Another reason? Everyone else seemed to have more than one option, they seemed to get to choose theirs. Maybe they would let him play with them this time. And maybe he wouldn't have to be alone after all. Maybe. An interesting item came up that day. before Tsunade repaid her son the 500 yen. And here? Tsunade asked yet again. They had stopped earlier, but had rejoined this same training a short while ago. It was dark, actually, and Shizune was undoubtedly preparing dinner by now. That's the, come on, Naru-chan, Tsunade prompted, amused. You're a medic nin in training. It's just a technical term, so say it. Hell, he swore all the time, anyways. Kids could be so odd. I know that. Naruto responded hotly, the, male reproductive organ and external organ of urination. Tsunade snorted at her adopted son's face, noting that in the end he hadn't said the organ's actual name. Right, well next one, what's? Car-chan, Naruto interrupted, somehow shy. Huh. This was new. Tsunade wondered what. Well, Ero uncle was saying some stuff about it. Jiraiya did. Instantly, the color drained from Tsunade's face. What? She asked, voice hoarse. Well, you know, Naruto scratched the back of his head, embarrassed. He was saying how it really had many more uses, or something like that. He said that I was missing some information and that it was really important. You had. The horror in the mother's face was joined with the shocked outrage in her voice. Well, it's Ero uncle, so I can't be completely sure. Naruto frowned thoughtfully, but is it true that? Yo! The voice of the previously mentioned Ero uncle accompanied the unmistakable bang of a front door slamming opened. The Huister, as it happens, locked their front door, but hey, Jiraiya was a ninja, come on. It would be embarrassing not to pick the lock. Real ninjas didn't consider something that puny as any kind of obstacle at all. Just thought I'd drop by since I was around, Jiraiya reasoned loudly, that the inhabitants of the house could hear him. But, actually, I'm starving. It's been a tough day and I have a huge hunger. Do you know any good restaurants and, hey, that smells like Nikujaga? He yelled, sounding ever so fake to the well-trained ears of the house. What an amazing Koensai act. Tsunade had just come skidding through a door to his right. Before Jiraiya had even a chance to clasp his hands together to beg for mercy, he was grabbed by the shirt and pinned to the wall. Jiraiya, Tsunade's voice was ominous in a way that very few things could be. And the fact that she didn't have her, "You're annoying" look on, or even her, "I'm going to kill you" look, but instead was sporting her much feared and respected, "I'm going to castrate you in a very painful way, heal you, and then find a far, far more painful way to do it." Agaran look only scared Jiraiya even more. Jiraiya gulped. He'd seen that look twice before. In his mind, there was little doubt that, had she caught him those times, the look would have proven to be exactly what it sounded like. "Just what did you say, to my son?" Tsunade sounded vengeful and terror-inducing in a decidedly unhealthy for Jiraiya way. "Oh shit," Jiraiya almost said. But of course, Tsunade wouldn't have liked anything but the truth out of him, this very moment. Even so much as a "hello" could endanger his future. Sighing, the frog Sennin informed Naruto that he was leaving all his possessions to the boy and reluctantly motioned for Tsunade to lean closer. "Well, whisper, whisper." Tsunade's face became pale, quite pale. And then the color came flooding back. "Perhaps too much, sir." She became red, you see, quite red. Finding no words to adequately express even a fraction of her rage, she made a strange, strangled, squeaking sound and gathered a terrifying amount of chakra in her body. She released it in a focus point from her fist, slamming it into the unforgivable pervert's stomach. Naruto watched his uncle sail away through the front door and rack up some truly impressive airtime. He turned to his mother, who was huffing and puffing, not with exertion, but raw rage. So wait, does that mean it's all true, then?" he asked, confusedly. "Absolutely not. Gaara." As for Shizune, she was prepared to tackle the Shoju family case, perhaps overly so. But then, this was her nature. In fact, her over-preparation may have been the only thing to keep the Shoju family alive long enough to make an object of study, much less a medical miracle. The residents of Sunagakure had, in an act of infinite charity and caring, decided to care only for themselves, and exile the Shoju family off into the desert where they could keep the disease to themselves. Currently, the wealthy, noble, and politically significant family was living in a portable shelter which Shizune had brought with her for the flimsy sake of, well, actually no one truly knew why she had brought a portable shelter with her, but she had. Regardless, she now spent all her time there, buried in research and field testing, and having her mentor drop by every now and as a means of evaluation only. Tsunade would give no tips on this task and Shizune would never, ever ask. It was time to stand on her own as a medic nin. X Wind Country, Desert, Shizune's portable shelter X. Thank you so much, Sumain Shoju expressed from her position atop her one-person cot. We don't have any accessible funds at the moment, however I swear that. Shizune, by the ill woman's cot and in the process of changing her bandage wraps, sought to ease her patient's conscience. It's all right, she placated. And don't strain yourself. You're still recovering. Yes, but you managed to stop it. I'm so happy, the woman continued, smiling through the bandages covering the majority of the right side of her face. If it had taken my hands from me, I don't know what I would do. No. Please don't thank me, Shizune pleaded. If only I had been faster, then you would not look so terrible. And you were so beautiful. Ah, the medic nin apprentice gasped. I'm sorry, Tsunade-san, you're still quite beautiful. Thank you, but it is all right. Even if I lose all semblance of beauty, it is all right. You see, the woman sighed, only my husband is worth anything in this family. What did you say? Tsunade-san, 4x Sunagakure, Streets X. The streets of Sunagakure had very low traffic, as usual. As every day was a very sunny and hot day, most adults found they would rather stay inside when they weren't out shopping or on business. Children, of course, were a typically different case. The streets of Sunagakure were also an oddity in themselves. The wind in Sunagakure was nowhere near as harsh as it was outside the village walls, but was always present to at least some degree. Small sand patches or mounds could be found across any street, but for the most part, all the sand would be blown until it rested against the wall of some building or other. This created large sand hills attached to buildings that, in one or two places, were so large, you could attempt to scale them and reach a rooftop that way. So it's your mother's secret technique? Temari queried. It hadn't taken long for her to start feeling odd about spying on her friend. After coming clean to him, the pair of children had been busy finding useless but important-sounding information to feed her father. You and your Ka-chan have freakish physical strength, and then you concentrate a ridiculous amount of chakra in the fist and then release it from a singular point in the instant your hit connects. This is the general form of it, right? Temari asked, for conformation's sake. The pair had just left the house and was currently on the hunt for a taiyaki stand, as per Naruto's demands. But you know, I'm going to need a name for it. The medic nin in training's face screwed up in thought. This is going to sound strange, but she never actually named it. It's got a few nicknames though. Lots of high-ranked people know that it exists and the rumor mill starts up from there. Let's see. It's been called Golden Fist, Iron Hand, and Magic Finger Fick. Temari was simply aghast at that last one. What? Naruto sported a bemused smile. Yeah. As to how that one would become popular. Perhaps it's revenge from all the guards that have asked for proof of ID from Ka-chan over the last few years, he theorized. But there's one that's really good. If I'd have to give it a name, I'd call it that. Yeah? And? Temari pressed. This was perfect. It was a secret technique, but lots of people knew about it, and it was uncopyable to boot. Ka-chan doesn't talk about it, but according to the story I keep hearing, back when she was teamed up with the other Sannin, she used it to KO a huge, berserk snake summoned somewhere. Wow, yeah. They started calling it God Hand. For a lonely, tired boy watched the two blondes walk off. They're outside again, the aforementioned lonely boy mumbled to himself. Outside? Are they going to play? His voice was raspy from underuse. If he hadn't started talking to himself, if he hadn't kept talking to his dead Ka-chan, then maybe he wouldn't have any voice left at all. I know how to play, he stated, hoping that counted for something. He flinched, grasping his head in pain. Yes, I know all the games. I've been watching, and no. I don't want to kill them, mother. I want to play. I want to try. For the complete entirety of his life, he had been shunned by all whom he had tried to befriend. What incredible property of humanity asserted itself so that he would still be trying after all this time? Perhaps it was the spirit of the gambler that resided within this boy. Maybe, with the next try I will win, maybe with just one more try I may win the jackpot. Oh, wouldn't it be glorious to have just one friend? The tired, lonely boy took a chance, for he had little to lose and a dream as his prize. And with this, he stepped forwards, silenced the demon he thought was his mother, and cast the die for all he was worth on this last, desperate gambit. 4x Wind Country, Desert, Shizune's portable shelter X. Yes, you see, I am only a shouju by marriage. Really, I'm just a peasant girl from the slums of the capital. Tsunade smiled. Back then, my husband was a very popular bachelor. I will admit he was not that handsome, but he was wealthy and dependable. Beautiful noble women were dogging him day and night. Oh, but I'm rambling. And no, please continue, Shizune demanded, perhaps a bit too eagerly. Oh, she loved these kinds of romance stories. It was her secret hobby, though she suspected her mentor and Otatu knew about it already. It's very interesting, but please don't strain yourself, Shizune insisted, finished removing the bandages from her patient's face. It took years of experience with ugly injuries and diseases for Shizune not to recoil from the sight. In the after effects of a devastating new strand of flesh-eating disease, Shouju Tsunade's right face was an unsettling and twisted mess. Her nose and right ear seemed to almost have melted into themselves. The chasms, gaps of space where pieces of her face ought to rightly be, looked little more than a bastardization of nature, and one would wonder how such a deformation would still leave all the necessary bits intact for a person to remain alive. As if to eternally mock her, the left side of Tsunade's face was pristinely untouched by deformity. If she could have seen her reflection, she would have surely cried. Or vomited. Actually, probably both. You're tired, aren't you? Go to sleep. I've sent word to the village that your situation is no longer a threat. Staff will be coming by later today to help look after you, and we'll be moving your family back to the village in the morning. Oh, you must be glad, Tsunade mused. Smiling, she added, you'll also be able to head back and see your brother, won't you? The one you always talk about. With the way that smile made her face look, a lesser experienced Shizune would have lost her lunch. As it was, she showed no visible signs of disgust in any form. Yes, I was thinking of going ahead once the helpers get here. You sound quite concerned. Well, Shizune began, embarrassed, it's just that he can get into such trouble, sometimes. By the way, Naruto began, ready to switch into his lecturing pose, you shouldn't ever try it. Try to copy God Hand, and you'll just blow your arm off. Is it really as simple as you made it sound earlier? Temari asked dubiously. I mean, no matter what you say, if it isn't limited by bloodline, then it should be copyable in theory, right? What? No, are you really listening to me? Naruto demanded. You're not, are you? I already told you. You can't copy it. Oh, come on, Temari persisted, ignoring her friend's foul mouth. The books say that gathering that much chakra into just a point that small is suicide, but if you do it, then it must be possible, and so logically. Logic this, logic that, Naruto mocked. Everything's logic with you, Temari-chan. The boy scowled. You sound like a damn parrot. Now that riled her. What did you say? The blonde girl demanded. Do you have some problem with logic? And you call yourself a medic nin? Hey. I don't ever want to be on your illogical operating table. Okay, you know what? Naruto demanded, frustrated. Hell, fine, try it. Just try the damn thing. He dared. Flatly, he continued. I'll be the first kid in history to try healing an exploded arm. Temari grimaced. I get the picture. No thanks. I guess you can't really try to figure it out if your arms explode, she bluntly theorized. She didn't really care, anyways. It was Naruto's business, she'd just been curious. Anyways, the taiyaki stand is. Her proposition was cut short as she watched the preceding events with shock. Temari, who had secretly harbored doubts that a medic nin in training could be half as combat-worthy as Naruto claimed to be, had her doubts erased. It had happened in a blur of movement. 1 second, the boy was stumbling forwards. The next second he had pivoted on his heel, spun a full 180 degrees, and had his fist a mere 2 inches from the face of their shadow. What? Naruto narrowed his eyes, confused. That killing intent had been insane, like a red-hot javelin of hate being thrust into his consciousness. So abrupt and sharp and focused that it had even caused him to stumble. An assassin, surely. I just want to play, the redhead whispered, eyes so wide and fearful like some deer staring down the barrel of a revolver. Like a child staring down death from 2 inches distance. Gee, the ever-calm Temari stuttered, Gaara. She stumbled backwards, away from the monster. She should escape. No, running would only trigger the animal instinct. She had seen it before. It, her brother, would hunt her down and crush her underneath the malevolent sand. It would slay her for sport, if nothing else. From her spot behind her blonde friend, Temari caught sight of the sand shifting at his feet, encircling the area where he stood. Her fear redoubled. The blonde medic nin in training had yet to lower his arm. She knows him. He didn't take his eyes off the newcomer. Temari-chan, he said, sounding calmer than he felt. Who is this guy? And why the hell is he leaking killing intent? Naruto-kun, a monster, a predator, and a murderer. He'll kill us. He'll really kill us. He. I just want to play, the boy repeated. The fist in front of him seemed to be radiating force. The feel of it was raising the hair on the back of his neck. Would he be hurt? Would he die? Did it really, truly matter? I just, he begged like a broken record, begged like a broken child. I just want to play. You. Naruto looked over this red-haired youth, noting the black circles around his eyes. Face paint? No. Signs of insomnia. Really advanced signs of insomnia. Leaking killing intent but not wanting to hurt him. Perhaps a case of split personalities. Would that even work? Naruto's mind still could not reconcile the situation properly. Something was off. Some vital point was bothering him at the back of his mind. Finally, the fist smoothly lowered and the stored chakra within dissipated back into the boy's system. So you aren't here to hurt me? Or Temari-chan? The blonde demanded. No, yes. No, kill them. Crush them. Bathe in the glorious blood. No, stop it Car-chan. Please, the blood. Don't you want to see? That coppery, wonderful liquid spilling between your fingers, making you alive. No. I just want to play. Silence stretched out for eternity. One could only guess at what weighing system was used within Naruto's mind to determine the threat level of such a strange newcomer, but finally. You're pretty weird, but it's not like I'm normal or anything, the boy trailed off, scratching his chin in thought. Well, all right, he proclaimed decisively, grinning at last, but try anything funny, and I'll really kick your ass. My name's Ho-Oh Naruto. Really? Truly? Disbelief reverberated within Gaara's mind. He'd been accepted. Insolent child, the shrill words of a demon echoed, what are you doing? Not now, mother, came the immediate reply, I'm going to play now. The words were tinted with reverence. No. I hunger for death. Stop wasting time. Naruto. The boy looked back. What was Temari-chan doing on the floor? What's up, Temari-chan? Naruto-kun, but Temari's eyes found Gaara's, and the madness that lurked therein. I have to go. Huh? Naruto had absolutely no idea what to make of his friend's behavior, as she sprinted away like hell was on her heels, and she called him weird. He'd just gotten a new playmate, but lost the other one. Geez, still couldn't do any 3-player games. Anyway, my name's Ho-Oh Naruto. Let's be friends. He introduced once more when he noted that he still didn't know this guy's name. He held out his hand. But damn it, I still want my taiyaki, so we're absolutely going to find that first. Gaara stared at the proffered hand, then back to the smiling, honest face of Ho-Oh Naruto. A friend? Really? Truly? What? The blonde Taiyaki-deprived boy deadpanned. They don't have handshakes in Sunagakure. Sakyu Gaara, the boy's raspy voice grated out, his hand imitating the blonde's in an attempt at a handshake, for he knew not even this. And arigato. As the insomniac made to shake his hand, Naruto felt the hairs on the back of his neck rise. Something was wrong. So wrong. There was, of course, the palpable aura of hatred leaking from this newcomer. It was dull, but it didn't really feel like it was coming from Gaara himself. No, that wasn't the problem. That killing intent was dull and steady. So where the hell did that focused spear of killing intent come from earlier? Shit, there it was again, focused, clear as day, and coming right from Gaara. Damn it. Naruto immediately turned his handshake into a violently strong grip and pulled. Thunk. Well, this is new, Naruto muttered, standing above his new playmate, whom he had only just thrown to the floor. It seems that I'm not even the target this time. The kunai had been heading for Gaara's back, but had found its home in Naruto's stomach instead. Roughly, he pulled out this instrument of death. Good, the wound was not very deep. He'd close it up momentarily. Quickly, the wounded boy searched the rooftop for some black cloaked figure, but none was found. Seems I was right. The second killing intent didn't really come from Gaara, but rather some spot behind him. Damn it, you bastard assassin, where are you? Gaara lay on the sand which had caught him in his fall, stunned and looking up at the back of the one that had helped him. F for me, you. Naruto looked at the downed boy over his shoulder, seeing a similar but different shock to the one he'd seen on a pink-haired friend's face those years ago. He shot the boy a reassuring smile. You better explain this shit later, Gar. Naruto's words trailed off in surprise. What the hell? He was under a genjutsu. No, the kunai, Kai. The genjutsu disappeared. A yellow slip of paper revealed itself to be connected to the bloodied kunai still held in Naruto's right hand, covered in intricate patterns and fluttering in the ever-present wind of Sunagakure. With all haste, Naruto tried to get the kunai and its electrocution note the hell away from himself. It was half terrifying and half mesmerizing for Gaara as he watched Ho-Oh Naruto scream in pain, blue electricity dancing around his form in a prolonged torture session, visibly arcing from spot to spot on his body. Body still standing, but racked with spasms as a volts of energy sparked and raced across his body. Naruto. It lasted but a few pain seconds, but the voltage of the electrocution note left Naruto panting on his side upon the ground, his inhuman strength all but useless. His body was yet having difficulties responding. Breathing made erratic from the painful experience, he looked at Gaara, who had risen to stand above him, and back to the kunai in his hand. Shit, he groaned. That wasn't a normal electrocution note. If I hadn't removed it from my stomach before it activated, then I might even be. The boy raised eyes back to the redhead he'd saved. From his prone position on the ground, he managed to ask the most vital question. Just who the hell is after you? And why the hell are you looking at me as if I'm horrifying? Blood, Car-chan, no. Gaara's horrified whisper matched his horrified face. He could feel it. The ghostly clawing of his mother had begun to scratch at his mind. Look at the blood. The shrill voice insisted, growing louder by the word. He helped me. He didn't know about your sand. He thought I would be hurt or killed. He is strong. I can feel the energy within him. It floods his veins. Kill him, take his life and let it give meaning to your own. He's accepted me, Car-chan, we're going to be friends. The boy winced, and clutched his head in both hands. You can't hurt him. Give it to me. The voice demanded, more senseless than ever. You will give me his blood. No, Car-chan, I don't want to kill. What the hell? Was all Naruto managed to whisper in response to the sight above him. Blood. The ground below Naruto outright exploded in a shower of death. What's going on? Temari whispered, feeling the explosion of killing intent. This feeling. This will to slaughter anything that lives, Shukaku. Her legs felt weak, as they always did in the face of the pure maleficent intent that was Shukaku, The Sand Tanuki Demon. Gaara, Naruto. She had left those two together. She turned towards the direction of the killing intent, but found she could not move. Naruto-kun, tears brimmed in her eyes, I am sorry. And she continued to run away. 4. Shush shit, Naruto cursed. The sand below him had exploded upwards and, forming what Naruto could only call a giant sentient stream, had slammed him into a nearby house wall with terrific force. He was pinned, limbs restrained as the mass of sand smothered him utterly. He felt the sand grains crawling up his skin, making their way to his throat. Damn, Naruto thought, feeling the sand contract in an effort to squeeze the air and life from his body. He was terrified. His body was still recovering from the effects of the electrocution note, and no matter how tough he was, no one could survive without oxygen. If I could move properly. Even an arm. But then what? Just how was he supposed to fight off sand? How could he break it? Shit, that's some gratitude you have there, Gaara. Car-chan. Stop it. Gaara screamed, clutching his head. You'll kill him. He's my friend. Why, when he was given a chance? Why, just when the future looked so new and exciting? Please, please Car-chan. Oxygen, I need oxygen, Naruto thought dazedly. Blots of blackness were already beginning to obstruct his vision. I'll lose consciousness soon. If that happens, then what will I? The boy's thoughts were interrupted by another boy's incessant pleas for his Car-chan to stop. Gaara, what the hell? Sand made its way into his mouth. It made as if to pour down his thought and do who knows what to his insides. It was an unnatural, disgusting feeling that filled him with a frantic dread. But then, a miracle. Naruto could feel his right arm again. The boy scowled. Let's do this. Throwing his strength behind the movement, he pushed his right arm forwards, breaking free of the sand. What is he doing? My sand cannot be stopped. The demon chortled in its host's mind before quickly, insanely, changing thought trains entirely. He's strong. Truly worth the kill. Struggle and squirm before you die, my worm, my prey. Ho-oh, Naruto isn't pinned so easily. He thought fiercely, taking the arm he had broken free and slamming it backwards. Come on, God hand. With an audible boom and crack, the wall behind him blew open for a 4-foot diameter, and Naruto tumbled backwards into the room beyond. The occupants of 102nd Roppu Street watched in horror as a sizable portion of their wall literally imploded and a boy came spilling in, covered in sand. They clutched each other and shared tear-stained looks, knowing that with all the killing intent in the air, that sand surely belonged to Tsunagaku's resident monstrosity. Naruto choked violently even as he rolled to his feet. He needed to get that sand out of his system. He didn't trust it at all. The sand that had spilled into the room with him seemed to just be lying there. What was going on here? The medic nin in training glanced to his right and saw a family clutching each other in absolute terror, looking at the sand, not him, the person that had fallen in, as if it were the devil itself. Gaara panted, crouched on the floor. Had he regained control of the sand? His mother had suddenly stopped. Car-chan? He tried, tentatively. Wonderful, the voice whispered in awe. Gaara doubted he'd heard right. His Car-chan seemed almost calm. What? Truly wonderful. The voice regained its shrill insanity with startling ease. Such raw power. I love it. Come to me. Shukaku cried, come to me and die. Absolutely, completely, craptastic, Naruto declared. The sand had been lifeless for all of 12 seconds before reanimating. In an impressive display of skill for his age, he had just finished closing his stomach wound through Ijutsu. He looked back at the family whose home he had invaded. They still clutched each other in fright. He looked at the sand and noted that it was gathering into what would probably be another attempt to pin and crush him. Well shit, he spun around and cocked back an arm. Let's take this outside, you bastard. God hand. Making an exit of the nearby wall, Naruto made his escape into the more manageable outside street. Gaara watched as Naruto practically exploded back out of the house he had exploded into. His Car-chan had never cried for blood so loud, and it was making his head hurt with a pain that was almost crippling. She wanted control. total control to pull forth her full power, but he fought her. He resisted, and that resistance was killing him. He's my friend, the boy whimpered. Friend? Shukaku challenged. Friend? You have no friends. Friends are for killing. Look into the eyes of your friend, and indeed, even through the pain Gaara could make out the icy cold glare Naruto had fixed on him as the blonde made a wide circle of his position, dodging streams of sand all the while. He meant business. And no, that's just because you hurt him, Ka-chan, Gaara tried. But there was not much faith behind his own protests. He had been hurt too many times. He will kill you. Protect yourself. Kill him back, Shukaku cackled. Naruto glared angrily at Gaara. Damn it, what was going on? Didn't that guy say he didn't want to hurt him just a while ago? He was clutching his head and talking to himself. No matter how you look at it, he didn't seem to be consciously controlling the sand. Was it really a case of split personalities? One thing was for sure. Who or whatever was doing this was a real bastard that was going to get his ass kicked so hard. Another stream of sand of a seemingly endless supply came flying at him from the side. Throwing out another god hand punch, and scattering a good 5 meters of the sand column to the wind, Naruto knew that he wasn't doing anything more than buying time. This is ridiculous. Why can't I even sense this sand? It doesn't have a chakra signature. No way. My chakra sense never fails me like this. The thought sent a chill down his spine. His most trusted sense was useless. This had never really happened before. What's going on? Damn it, is it that day again? The boy's eyes snapped wide. He hadn't watched his step. Shit, I stepped on a sand hill. With a startled yell, he was hoisted into the air by the ankle. Chance! Shukaku chortled. Feel the wrath of hell. Naruto, dangling upside down by his right ankle, stared as every particle of sand within a 1-block radius formed into more than 15 tendrils of death before him. The feat was truly mind-boggling. Gee, give me a break. There's a limit to how ridiculously shitty a day can get. Naruto stared as the tendrils shot towards him. Damn it, I am not losing to some goddamn stupid, freaky sand. I'm done messing around with you, Gaara. The boy slammed his hands together. Karyu. Shukaku itself was dumbfounded. What is this little human doing with all that chakra? Endan. Just as Naruto's vision at that moment must have been clouded by masses of sand, Gaara's vision in the next moment was blanketed by an angry red. A roaring dragon head billowed forth of such size that it occupied the entire width of the street. Gaara, literally, had nowhere to run. Ah! The red-haired boy screamed, throwing his arms up before his face in futile defense, eyes shutting tight. Tsunade stiffened. Running on instinct, she spun to her direct left, only to face a 2-story-tall Karyu Enden barreling down the street towards her. With an almost insulting ease, she held her palm onto the charging beast as it reached her, releasing an impact of chakra from her palm, dispelling the monstrosity instantly. Weak. Sure, it was big, but the chakra was so spread out that it was little more than a glorified heatwave. It must have come from quite a ways, though, as she couldn't see the source. Naru-chan, she pondered, feeling the remnant chakra left behind. It's not like him to practice different forms of Karyu Enden in the middle of the city. Though, looking around, it seemed as if the residents of Sunagakure had holed themselves up. The street was deserted. Did the brat get this whole area's cooperation? I don't like this, it's suspicious. What does this village know, that I don't know? Frowning, she left for the direction the Karyu Enden had come from. Naru-chan's supposed to be safe here. Goddamn Kazekage, if that bodyguard you promised me isn't looking out for my son, I won't stand still. Tsunade-sama. A desperate, urgent voice hollered. What? Startled, the slug summoner turned to face the source of such a panicked voice. What was it now? No. This person. You. What are you doing here? Tsunade-sama. Shizune pleaded, panting in exhaustion. She'd sprinted most of the way here. Please come with me right away. I need your help, something. Looking closely, Tsunade noted the tears brimming in her apprentice's eyes. Something terrible happened. Gaara's breathing was quick. He was still alive. In fact, he hadn't been touched at all. It took a while for the boy to recall that, hey, his sand would have protected him from anything. It took one more second to recall that his mother had been mercilessly bent on his first friend's destruction, leaving him undefended for perhaps the first time of his life. Whymi, still. Clever prey. Shukaku cooed. Sneaky prey. That fire was only meant to stop my sand, and cover your escape. You fooled me. The tanuki cheered in congratulations. You're so interesting, so interesting. Hearing this, Gaara whipped his head around. It was true. In the few seconds he had had his eyes clamped shut, Naruto had disappeared. Suddenly, Gaara felt hunted, exposed here in the middle of the street. As the seconds ticked by at their painfully slow pace, his unease heightened. No, Naruto-san won't really kill me, will he? No, would that really be so bad? To die? I have tried to do so on my own, and Car-chan-san always stopped me. Would it be so bad? Should I die, or should the one that had been willing to give me a chance die? I don't want either. If the fight could just stop. If I could just have my chance back. And sir, the minutes ticked by, until… Oh, but you don't know what's going on, do you, pray? You're not fighting my host, you're fighting me. And I follow you by chakra sense, did you know? The tanuki all but sang. And guess what? I found you. The second-story window to Gaara's left broke open as Naruto dived through it, kunai drawn, icy glare set, and making a beeline for the demon host boy. Two-barred Shukaku sang. It had picked up the full boy's position easily. It was fun, but now it's time to die. A thin stream of sand shot up to meet the descending boy. This time, instead of trying to merely catch him, the chakra-laden sand pierced straight its target's stomach. No! Gaara cried, Car-chan, what did you… But Gaara was cut short, rendered speechless as the mortally wounded Naruto disappeared in a small explosion of smoke. What? What? Kage Bunshin, a cool voice from behind explained. Gaara spun around, shocked and terrified, only to have Naruto's closed, power-radiating fist inches from his face for the second time this day. He became almost paralyzed in fear. Naruto locked eyes with Gaara. I know. The chakra signature is really realistic, isn't it? Kage Bunshin even fooled my chakra sense back when Ero Uncle pulled that fake assassin stunt. He continued to talk, noting that Shukaku, fortunately, seemed interested enough to put the fight on pause. I heard all about it. How you sense out your surroundings, Shukaku Yuru. Temari-chan told me. Who's this, Temari? Shukaku asked of her host, holding a list of priorities that was just irrational enough for the demon to neglect the veritable chakra bomb hovering an inch before her host's nose. Gaara, the boy on the other end of that chakra bomb, began seriously, can you get control back? And on your face there, are those tears? You really didn't want to kill me, did you? Control? Control? He said. An almost musical chortling made itself known inside Gaara's mind, but the boy barely heard it. Naruto-san, you would look on a monster like me, with those kind eyes. For someone like me. As if this child could take control from me. Stop it, Car-chan, the boy whispered, voice shaken but resolute as steel, falling to his knees and discarding all care for himself. Just stop it. What is this? You've been fighting me all day. Insolent child, you cannot win. There, mid-noon in a nameless Tsunade street, a child waged war upon a demon with such ferocity within his poor, limited mind, that it brought blood to his eyes. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Shukaku, he cried, clutching his head in pain and raw determination. He couldn't feel his legs, they were not important, not something worth focusing on. Right now, Gaara's whole world was on the plane of wills. He didn't even notice that for the first time, he had called the demon by its real identity. 4x Tsunade Street, rooftops X, G Gaara, Temari whispered in horror. She could faintly make out the blood running from the boy's nose and eyes as he kneeled, head clutched violently in his hands as he screamed at Shukaku with all his soul. Naruto was now crouched by the Gaara's side, hand on the other boy's shoulder, shouting his support. Is that really, Gaara? She clutched tightly the fan in her hands. It was really working. Earlier damn, Naruto panted before slumping down onto the rooftop. It was a good 2 houses away from where Gaara was. That Karyu Enden had taken a lot out of him. But he remained alert. Who's there? He demanded in a whisper. He really didn't want Gaara to find him out just yet. Naruto-kun, Temari whispered back, finishing climbing up her grappling hook to the roof. It's me. Temari-chan. What are you doing here? What, indeed, was she doing here? She had tried to run away from this. She really honestly had. But she must be a fool, because she just couldn't do it. Sorry I'm late, Naruto-kun, she apologized with a slightly strained smile. I had to go get my fan from my house. I'm no good without it. But you got away on your own, Naruto-kun. She whispered excitedly. Come on, let's get going before he finds us. Temari, Naruto-kun, what are you doing? We have to go, move. Temari-chan, Naruto spoke firmly, tell me about Gaara. Never mind that, let's go. I'll tell you later, she insisted, crawling back to her grappling hook. They'd make their way down using this, then retreat to her house until Gaara calmed down. No, that wasn't enough. Gaara was far too excited, he'd chase her friend down forever. Naruto would have to leave Sunagakure immediately, so. Temari-chan, I'm not moving, the boy insisted, looking more serious than Temari had ever thought possible for him. Not until you tell me about Gaara. Why? You stubborn idiot. But she had told him, knowing no other option. She had told him in as concise form as her impressive intellect could muster, all the important points she knew about Gaara and his life. Naruto? Temari asked, tentatively. At the end of these explanations, Naruto lay staring at some point beyond the clouds above. She had never seen the boy look so passive and distant. His expression seemed both pained and filled with distaste. But what stole Temari's voice the most were the unshed tears in his eyes. I understand, Naruto muttered, smiling so sadly that it was almost painful to watch. I understand, so well. He's seen those eyes every day. Those hateful but terrified eyes, walking down the street and being surrounded by them all of his life. Different. Yes, forever, fundamentally different. Forever strange, almost controlled mutation of humanity. The boy rose to his feet slowly. Everything makes sense now. He wiped his eyes on a tattered sleeve. Thanks Temari-chan. Naruto-kun. She didn't like the new expression of determination on her friend's face. Just stop, you can't beat Gaara. It's just. Not Gaara. Naruto glared down at his opponent below. That damn Shukaku bastard. Naruto-kun, you're not listening to me. You just can't beat him. Temari pleaded for reason. You're right, Naruto nodded. Oh really? Great. She enthused, hesitantly getting up as well. She hoped they wouldn't be spotted. Let's go. I can't take out that demon without taking out Gaara, the boy grumbled, frowning in thought. He'd need to create an opening. He'd have to distract Shukaku. The boy slammed his hands together in the shadow seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. You know what to do. Good, make it loud and startling all right. Temari froze in shocked indignation as the Bunshin sprinted off over the rooftops. Why you? Are you giving weight to my opinion at all? But wait, could he really beat Gaara? He'd lasted this long, maybe. Quickly, she re-evaluated the situation. Running wouldn't solve the problem forever, nothing would. Gaara would be the terrifying promise of death forever. Unless, Naruto-kun, listen, Temari said, grimacing. She knew he wouldn't like what she had to say. If Gaara were to, pass away, then everything is solved, right? Overcome by shock, Naruto gripped Temari by her upper arms and fought hard not to yell obscenities even his mother rarely used. What the hell are you saying? He's your brother. Naruto, Temari began solemnly, seriously. Even despite the painful grip Naruto had on her, I haven't called him Otaru, even once in my life. And he hasn't called me Nei-chan, either. Do you understand? We're just a shell of a family. And the person that wants to kill Gaara the most is our father, our Kozekage himself. Fine, he didn't like it, but he could understand it. But let me tell you something, Temari-chan, the boy enunciated his words with care. Since the start of this freaky fight, that shell of a brother of yours has never stopped fighting for my sake. Screaming and clutching his head, he's been trying to rein in Shukaku this whole time. Gaara has. She could not believe, she could not reconcile. That monster she had feared all of its life. Temari-chan, Naruto began again, his solemn tone giving yet more weight to his words. In my family, we believe something. The boy paused, reciting an, until now, unspoken oath he kept close to his heart. You are never to let your comrades die. The boy's fists clenched at his sides, not without one hell of a fight. And so saying, Naruto jumped backwards off of the 4-story building. Naruto-kun. Temari dived after him, but was only treated to the sight of his back as he ran vertically down the wall. I shouldn't be surprised, I guess, she proclaimed to herself. Present time Temari stared, only able to guess the kind of war occurring in her younger brother's mind. Never let your comrades die, is it? Unconsciously, she clenched her fan tighter in her hands. Naruto-kun, be careful. I heard the seal used for Shukaku was cracked and imperfect. 4. Gaara, hang in there. Naruto shouted to a mop of reed hair. Gaara's head was almost resting on the ground as he grunted in effort. You live for me, insolent child. Give me your body back. You fool, what are you doing? Listen to me, Gaara. Not getting a response, Naruto grabbed Gaara by the shoulders and forced the boy's blood-stained eyes to meet his own. Damn it, listen. You have to fight it. You didn't choose to have a demon sealed inside you, but all those people are scared, right? No one wants to try to know you, right? I understand it very well, but are you just going to let that damn parasite rule your life? He asked in a strained, almost pleading voice. Stand up for yourself, Gaara. Don't ignore your worth. My worth, Gaara echoed. Managing to say this much was an accomplishment when one felt as if they were playing tug-of-war with one's own soul. You will live for me, you will die for me. No, no. Shut up, Shukaku. If not for me, then who? Live for yourself then, kill all the others. That is fine too. Just bring me death. No, not for you, and not just for myself. Then what, you useless little killer, what will you live for? I don't know, then give me your body. I will live in your place. No. What is my worth? Gaara ground out. I never found it. All this time. Naruto, do you know how many people I've killed? The question offset Naruto. What? No, Naruto-san, I tried to keep count. He pleaded. T tried to keep track, but I couldn't. Too many. See, could you tell me how many I killed? Wanted to say sorry to them, just once. Gaara, I'm a monster. What is the worth of this monster? Isn't it obvious? Resilient but useless child. The worth of a monster is just how much it kills. We have this in common. Stop fighting me. A monster? Gaara, you, damn it, come with me. Naruto demanded, hoisting the other boy to his feet and all but dragging his limp body towards the nearest house. I don't care if it's locked, we're coming in. The residents of 98th Roppu Street knew that locking the door would do little against the monstrosity that was Gaara. Really, when their door exploded inwards, they were not all that surprised. What they were, was paralyzed in fear. A mirror? Naruto demanded of the residents. Give me a mirror, now. Quickly spotting a plain, full-length mirror to the left, he dragged a staggering Gaara before it. Look at yourself, Gaara. He demanded. You tell me you're a monster as much as you want. I'll never believe you while your eyes look like that. My eyes? Straining, Gaara looked and saw in his eyes only pain and blood. Yes. Those insomniac eyes, Naruto declared, fiercely. I haven't heard of such an advanced case in my life. Shukaku will come after your soul if you sleep, right? It'll tear at your defenseless mind, right? Gaara, haven't you been fighting sleep all this time because you wanted to stay human? He challenged. Human? Go for it, Gaara. Naruto encouraged. It sucks, but life isn't fair sometimes. Sometimes, just to get the thing that everyone else already has, you'll have to fight like hell. Yes, even gaining an average level of chakra control was hell, wasn't it? All those frustrations. Always thinking I was so inferior. I've been through such a fight, Gaara. I'm telling you it can be won. So saying, Naruto clutched the trembling boy's left hand with firm camaraderie. And after all this shit is over, he began, eyes and voice taking a softer tone, let's go eat some taiyaki together. It's a promise. Human, Gaara whispered with longing and awe, as if he had reached a great epiphany. More than anything else, what I always wanted was to stay human. I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to be liked, friends, family. If I could just have these things. If I could have them. I would live for them. Impossible. Where is your puny human mind getting this strength? Stop it. Stop. Why? Those present at this scene would later swear that, just for a moment, the entire world had seemed to tremble with the force of one boy's will. One day, Temari had coerced Naruto into playing an indoor game. To be precise, she coerced him into being her figurative punching bag in a game of chess. So this piece goes like that? Naruto triumphantly declared, slamming the little wooden castle down with determination. This isn't so hard, check. PFT. Temari tried to restrain her laughter, and failed. You utterly fell for my trap. Crap. Naruto could merely watch hopelessly as his awesome castle was defeated by a mere horse. You always beat me in tag or hide and seek, Naruto-kun, but in the world of tactical board games, I am invincible, the blonde girl declared boldly. Regarding my 0-32 loss against you in hide and seek, this is my counterattack. You won't get a single match from me. Is that so? Naruto challenged. We'll just see about that. He taunted, slamming down a pawn. Slow and steady, he'd inched towards her defenses, and when she was least expecting it, bam, checkmate. PFT. Temari resisted another short bout of laughter, and yet again failed. Wow, you're really no good at this, Naruto-kun, Temari mused, knocking over the knight that had been previously protected by Naruto's pawn with her queen. You weren't bad at shogi, so I thought you'd be okay at this. How come? Isn't chess more popular back in Fire Country? Well, Naruto sighed, there's a logical explanation for that, but it's a bit stupid. That really caught Temari's interest. Huh? What do you mean? Ugh, you see, the boy reluctantly began, it's true that chess is supposed to be popular back there. But you know, you won't find many people betting about chess. Compared to that, in Fire Country people sometimes make small bets about shogi. Sir, you're saying that? Yeah, Naruto admitted irritably, Car-chan only bought us shogi and mahjong sets. PFT. Aha. Aha ha 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 ha. Temari couldn't help herself. For that reason alone. What an incredible dedication to gambling. But she always lost. Wah ha ha ha. Oh, my sides hurt. I'm laughing too hard. Oh wow. That was simply too much. Shut up. Nothing's wrong with shogi. Naruto protested. And I'd toast you in mahjong. Aha ha ha. Somehow, despite nearly incapacitating mirth, Temari managed to slide her queen over and take Naruto's bishop. Laugh it up. Naruto scoffed, irritably, look at this, you left your queen right in the line of fire. Triumphantly, he took Temari's queen with his king. The queen was the most powerful piece available in chess. Unfortunately, rather than sobering the laughing blonde, Naruto's move served only to increase her terrible mirth. Aha ha 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 ha. Ch ho 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 ho. Ch checkmate. Aha ha ha. Damn it, it took a while before Temari finally stopped laughing. Woo. Oh, my cheeks hurt, that was so funny. Seeing her friend's blatantly unamused face, Temari brought herself under control. Sorry Naruto-kun, it was just way too funny. Hey, let's play again, but I should get some kind of handicap. What? That's no fun, Naruto protested. Besides, I don't need your pity. Oh, come on, Naruto-kun, think about it like this. I'm not even really trying right now, Temari lectured. With a handicap, it'll let me face unusual, disadvantageous situations so I can get better. Help me train, alright. Geez, fine, Naruto assented reluctantly. Right. Temari began her dictation. I'll flip a coin whenever my turn comes, and if you call it right then we'll just skip my turn, alright. But you still have to end it with a checkmate, alright. Flip a coin? Naruto asked dubiously. Are you sure about that? Sure. The randomness will also make it interesting. Well, oh come on, Naruto-kun. You think I'll have a chance of losing? She asked, amused. PFT. Ah ha 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 ha. Damn it, you're on. X later X, WH what? How? Temari sat, shell-shocked. That was surprisingly boring, Naruto observed. I told you it was a bad idea. But, Temari weakly argued, completely disorientated. I lost? Why you? Indeed, Temari had lost. And it had been a truly, utterly, one-sided loss of the greatest degree. You see, she had not gotten to move a piece, not even once. Suddenly, the girl snapped out of her daze and clear into rampant disbelief, slamming her hands onto the table. You called it right for 50 times in a row. Well, yeah, Naruto admitted. I think it would have been better if I could have gotten one wrong though, he theorized. WH what? How is that even possible? Do you know what the chances are of calling it right 50 times in a row? Temari demanded incredulously. It's ridiculous. It's impossible. Naruto shrugged. Apparently, my luck for this kind of thing is really good. Feeling a little bad and awkward for the apparently traumatizing experience he had just put his friend through, he added. But anyways, I'll admit that Temari-chan is really incredible at chess. You want to play something else now? He offered. Mahjong. Somehow, I don't think there'd be a point, Temari observed. Oh, so you experienced it, huh? Tsunade asked, coming onto the scene. Naru-chan's unreasonable luck, that is. Sometimes, I feel like the brat is stealing away all of mine, she groused. Yeah, right, Car-chan. Naruto defended righteously. You lost all the time before you adopted me. And after you adopted me, you lost all the time. He argued. There's no change. Shut up, brat. Are you trying to rub it in? It's the truth, Car-chan. Grow up and accept it. Now, there was something about being told to grow up and accept it by her child that really pissed Tsunade off. That does it. Quickly, she pulled Naruto into a tight headlock, yet that was merely the beginning. Naruto knew that too. Wait a second. What's that hand seal? That's new. Vengeful Mother's ultimate secret technique, burning Noogie of 1000 retributions. I can't believe you came up with a new hand seal for this. Naruto managed to cry in disbelief, before the wrath of the real ultimate Vengeful Mother's technique descended upon him. Just how much free time do you really have? Unlocked like the aftermath of a storm, it was a calm but devastated scene on the inside of 98th Roppu Street, and both Naruto and Gaara were taking this time for a well-deserved rest. Naruto lay slumped against the wall of 98th Roppu Street, looking at his destroyed surroundings. The living room had been thrashed, trashed, and in some places, even slashed. 3 or 4 sizable holes were now found in the walls, but hopefully the building's integrity would stay for a bit longer. Amazing, the boy thought. Gaara and Shukaku were in a mental struggle for all of, maybe 15 minutes. Naruto sighed, almost as if to be a physical representation of the struggle between child and beast. Gaara's, or was it Shukaku's, sand had stormed through the room. That the original, helpless residents of 98th Roppu Street were still alive, was singularly thanks to Naruto's efforts, an effort that had left the boy exhausted. Hey, I have to admit, Gaara, Naruto grinned tiredly despite himself, you got guts, he chuckled. Coming out of that massive rumble alive, and apparently victorious, the feeling of catharsis was incredible. He sighed contentedly as he observed the redhead in the middle of the room that was slumbering peacefully. Soliloquy start. Actually, from the moment I saw Gaara, I suspected something. There was just something in his posture, which I was instantly familiar with. Yes, It was the posture that I would never, ever allow myself to hold, no matter how natural it felt. Because of my respect for my mother's love and her words that day, I could never, ever hold myself as a monster. Naruto, age 4, confronted his mother at the local playground near their temporary house. "Car-chan, the child hesitated. "I'm different, right?" Tsunade froze, though it didn't seem like it. No, actually she smoothly knelt to look her adopted son in the eye, but in truth she did freeze. She froze right at the heart. "Naru-chan, what's wrong?" The young Naruto didn't meet his mother's eyes. He could not find the strength. "I just thought, well, I never apologized and, sorry, I guess." No, surely not. Surely he could not mean that. "For being different?" Tsunade asked tentatively. Tsunade grimaced slowly, as if in pain. Her son, her stubborn and often annoying, but so lovable and warm and darling son. He nodded. "Naru-chan, if you're sorry," she began sadly, "then I'm sorry too." Startled, the boy stared at her. What? Smiling softly, she rubbed the boy's hair affectionately. "I'm different too, Naru-chan. Even if we leave out that I break and fix people almost without paying attention, have you ever met anyone that talks the same, walks the same, and looks the same as me?" "What?" The boy scrunched up his face. "Of course there isn't someone like that." "That's right," Tsunade shouted victoriously, surprising the hell out of Naruto. She shot to her feet, stomped her foot a bit and pointed down at her son's face, as if preparing for a life-or-death proclamation, perhaps getting more fired up than was appropriate, assumedly so that what she said would have a lasting impression. She continued. "Likewise, there isn't anyone around that's the same as Naru-chan. This is a fact. It's so obvious that you're probably thinking, what's Car-chan getting at? Or something like that. But actually, this is all just proof." "Proof?" Naruto echoed. "Yes," Tsunade nodded seriously. "This is the undeniable proof that you are unique. Everything that makes up Ho-Oh Naruto belongs under your sole ownership. That ownership is impossible to transfer for the simple reason that there isn't anyone that can take your place." Understandably confused, as he could not see the relevance of this, Naruto could only go, "EA," and look surprised. "Whether you become a proud person or a stubborn person, strong, fast, wise, or even fat like a cow. These are the things which you will decide and build up for yourself. And whether these things are good or bad is up to individuals to decide. Naru-chan, that is how good and evil is decided in this world." Not saying a word, the boy only listened intently. "But for instance, that shirt you're wearing," she eyed the offending piece of clothing. "It's a horrible orange, with a bright blue, giant mouse on the front. Actually, I think it's so ugly that I want to burn it when you aren't looking." "Hey," Naruto protested. "I like this shirt." "Yes," she agreed. "And even if the whole world were to decide to hate the damn thing. Even if there were rallies in the street and political discussions about just how such an ugly thing can exist, you are still allowed to like it. To form that opinion, in other words to build that viewpoint up, it's completely your right to do so. And that belongs to you. It may not, cannot, be taken. And the second that somebody tries to change that, the second they step beyond, trying to convince, and forcing to change, at that time Naru-chan," Tsunade's voice became hard and sharp, "at that time, you may immediately punch that person in the face, at full force. And if you tell me what happened, even if the person is a Kage or a lawyer or a daimyo, or even myself, I will come to back you up. Definitely," she intoned. Whispering, she added, "your status as a container is also like that." "Oh," the boy's eyes widened as he took time to think on this. Even though I didn't build it up myself, huh?" "Yeah," Tsunade affirmed ruefully. "But sorry, there's one exception I didn't mention." Even though I said all that," she knelt down slowly and hugged him tightly, "I won't allow you to say, so I'm a monster, even if I have to force you through some unknown method. So if you won't believe that, then," she smiled, "you're going to have to punch me. You'll have to punch me forever." "Nah," the blonde refused and rubbed at his mysteriously teary eyes. "There's some dust there, I swear, It's okay. Hey Car-chan. What now? Thanks. A lot. There was a lengthy time as Naruto came to terms with his mother's words, feeling lighter and lighter. He was relieved that a weight of guilt that had slowly built upon his shoulders gradually, steadily evaporated, finally. Car-chan? Tsunade's eyebrow raised, what else? With the swift precision that all boys are in possession of, Naruto deftly destroyed the warm atmosphere. This hug is kind of embarrassing. What? Tsunade immediately demanded. The hell it is. You're only 4 years old. I'm a boy. Hugs outside the house aren't allowed. Aren't allowed? Tsunade echoed. Aren't allowed, you said? Do you realize that you're talking to your mother? Just what kind of brat are you? Now that I think about it, it's as if Gaara represented the path that my past self did not walk down. Yes, he was the shadow of my past. He was the type of person which, under different circumstances, I could have become. And so I felt an overwhelming urge to befriend him, and believe in him. Additionally, if there was no hope for this person, then thoughts of what I might have been would continue to plague me forever. Naruto sighed, making himself comfortable. Frankly speaking, he just didn't have the drive to get up and go anywhere right now. However, while he was exhausted, it was the kind of refreshing and purposeful exhaustion that came after a job well done. Nonetheless, the boy was interrupted by a low, gurgling growl. His stomach. Damn, the taiyaki stand, where the hell was it? But nah, he couldn't bring himself to wake up his new friend, who was sleeping peacefully for perhaps the first time, ever. Yes, that's probably right. That tanuki thing was either as unconscious as Gaara or worse. You really did fight like hell, didn't you? Naruto rhetorically asked the redhead, closing his eyes and settling in to join his friend in slumber. You know, he mused sleepily, I think you and me are going to get along just fine. But Gaara was unconscious of course, so Naruto wasn't expecting any answer from all of this. So when an eerie, high-pitched voice answered anyway, it sent chills down his spine. I wouldn't count on it. No way. Naruto bolted to his feet, or tried to. An enormous clawed arm encompassed his torso and pinned him up to the wall with a force that generated spider web cracks along the surface. Damn, what the hell? This thing. What the hell's it going to take to put this thing down? Tsunagakure, Rooftop's Temari shivered at the sensation saturating her body. This sensation was that of excitement. She had seen something incredible here today. That blonde idiot friend of hers, the one she could beat in chess without fail. To think he held within him such awesome power. Oh, she'd seen him study his medicine and she'd even seen him train a little. No, that wasn't it. The power that Naruto held, which impressed her to such an extent and sent her body shivering. It was because of Gaara. That unstable Gaara who'd killed people for looking at him, and who'd killed people for not looking at him, through some magic. That Gaara had listened to Naruto. That unstable and incomprehensible Gaara had been understood by Naruto. And with her idiot friend's support, and under his urging, that Gaara had seemingly silenced Shukaku, perhaps forever. And without Shukaku there, and with Naruto's mysterious ability to communicate with Gaara, perhaps the meaningless and brutal killings would stop. Perhaps, too, she could be a sister to the little brother she'd never had closeness to. It was a change in the world she'd regretted her whole life, and it sent her heart racing. Temari was just getting to her most excited and hopeful state about the wind of change that was seeming to blow through her world, standing up and clenching her hands in excitement, when she felt the aura of malice return in such force, and spread, and closeness to reality that she was instantly crippled onto her knees, instinctually clutching her fan as if it would protect her. And she knew, in that moment, that the one thing which was never to be allowed to ever happen, did. Having seen a glimpse of heaven, it seems that in the cruel reality it was only a misleading prequel to hell. X98 Roppu Street X, puny human. It shrieked. Puny prey. How pathetic. Did you expect a great-tailed demon like myself to lose? Naruto wasn't sure what chilled him the most, the feel of having his entire chest area slowly and inevitably compressed. The marrow-freezing voice which seemed so far detached from Gaara's own. Or the face that produced that voice. Gaara's face, no, indeed his entire body seemed split into two halves down the middle. The left side remained eyes closed, slumbering peacefully, blissfully unaware of the right's actions and appearance. And in contrast, sand had covered the right side and converted it into a vicious tanuki covered in black line markings, out of whose eye glared hateful glee and out of whose fang-adorned mouth came a singing, high-pitched and erratic voice laden with an undertone of death and joy simultaneously. Naruto didn't know what to think. With only one massive leg and one massive arm, the demon could exert such force. You thought I could die? To die by a puny human? Oh, you're so fun, pray, but so stupid. Stupid just like that insolent child. Should I thank you? He fought so hard that his mind is bare of energy. It's mine for the taking and I'll never give it back. You've been so useful. So great. Oh, this was different. Surely, the voice and power behind it was as chill-inducing as ever, but the words lit Naruto on such a rage of fire that the demon struggled to keep him pinned. Bastard! Naruto all but howled as red hatred consumed him so completely that it became almost blinding. And despite his exhaustion, despite his already protesting ribcage, Naruto pressed his palms to the wall and engaged in a power struggle with the tanuki. What the hell do you know about it? He really gave it his all. All to fight off his situation. All to change things and grasp the choices for his own future. Not minding whatever he had to suffer through, he fought on anyways. Damn you. Do you think you can put down such things in front of me? He growled. I won't let a parasitic bastard like you talk about Gaara that way. If the sudden energy its quarry was exerting troubled Shukaku in any way, it failed to show it. As expected. This prey is strong after all. I'll enjoy your death so much. I want to thank you again, but little, puny human, don't forget your place. What the hell are you saying? Little human, puny human, you're barely half of Gaara's body now, you bastard. This was partially true. While Shukaku's height was not much more than Gaara, its bulk was considerably more. I don't give a %content amp, #+ and how tough you think you are. A pompous piece of shit like you is simply going to lose just like that king idiot Kyuubi you call a god. Time froze. Shukaku's one golden eye distilled from the raw surprise that flooded its brain. Kyuubi, Sama. The awe-filled tone was very out of place with that high-pitched voice. You. The momentary shock of Shukaku had lasted a moment too short for Naruto to manage that last push that would give him room to escape. Rather, the boy was slammed back into the wall with a thrust fueled by raw, fanatical hatred, and it was a wonder that the wall, and the boy, did not break under the force. How dare you speak of Kyuubi-sama in that way? Gone was the singing undertone in the demon's voice, replaced with an enraged seriousness. That already twisted face twisted further in mocking contempt, but the eye burned with a purposeful hatred. Shukaku's whole body shook with terrible emotion, and the transformation from monster to religious extremist was complete. Sacrilege. The thing cried, treason. Like hell, the boy spat with what breath he could gather, suspended above the ground and halfway to becoming paste. Those things imply that I subscribed to your crappy god king, to begin with. Silence, mortal. Shukaku screeched. What would you know about our great Kyuubi-sama? Crack. Despite himself, Naruto could not contain a scream of agony. That had been his rib. Hey, I know. Naruto grinned through the pain. Regardless of whether he was being crushed or not, he might as well piss off this thing if he couldn't kill it. I know that he's a coward. It pleased Naruto greatly to render the stupid tanuki demon speechless, but its face said it all. Just die right away, scum. For once it wasn't screaming. You should say your repents to Kyuubi-sama before you enter his eternal grasp. What, last words? Naruto gasped out. His earlier struggle with Shukaku hadn't freed him, perhaps. But when he had been crushed back into the wall, he had spared at least his right arm from getting pinned again. A savage grin graced his features. Yeah, I have some last words for you, in accordance with the pride of a Ho-Oh, and according to my own pride as well. With whatever strength remains in this body, I will fight right until the moment I die. Come on, one more time. God hand. Naruto swung his fist around with as much manic force as he could manage. When the blow connected, it landed with a deafening thud, the likes of which dwarfed all other sounds of explosion from the course of this day. The power of the blow was likewise proportional in its magnificence, and sand flew blindingly from the point of impact in a massive spray as the front of Shukaku's arm was literally blown to bits. Shukaku, who was amazingly silent throughout having its arm blown apart, looked at the remnants of destruction as its suddenly pain-filled vision cleared. Compared to the tree trunk mass of its arm before, merely a sliver of sand now connected its elbow to its arm. Its wrist had been almost completely annihilated. As this scene sunk into the demon's mind, it finally let loose a blood-curdling scream, not of pain, but of horror. Despite the fact that Shukaku was now in an incomplete form of a substitute form for its real body, a mere, infantile human who had already reached exhaustion almost destroyed its arm in a single blow. It went against everything that Shukaku had ever known and learnt. Such a thing was unthinkable and was, to put it in terms humans could understand, so freaky it was just plain wrong. Why you? Just what are you? Short of breath and energy, Naruto pointedly spat out, me. I'm a goddamn Hou. But even though he said this with bravado, there wasn't much to celebrate about. Damn, he thought bitterly, sporting a look of anger even as unconsciousness pressed itself upon him. There is no comparison between his current situation and simple exhaustion. Chakra is the physical and mental energy of a person. In other words, it is the fuel of life. When one almost completely, stupidly, runs out of resources with which they can manage to mold chakra, it is proportional to having your blood drained until you're ready to die. Almost went straight through. Thinking he'd get some kicks in before he snuffed it, Naruto muttered with contempt. When Ka-chan finds you, she's gonna kick your fat stupy. Ah. That's enough, the demon rumbled. Whether a Hou was a special designation such as a cage, or whether they were different beings from humans completely, one thing was clear. Kyubi-sama would find some amusement with this world. It's time to die, Hou. So intent on the boy before him, Shukaku did not notice the approaching attacker until it was too late. Yah! With a hefty swing one could only pull off if one's opponent wasn't paying attention, or was an idiot, Temari slammed her giant, closed fan onto Shukaku's arm in a downwards chop. The folded fan came crashing down with, compared to the powers that were thrown about inside this room previously, pitiful force. But it was enough to finish the severance of Shukaku's arm. Naruto-kun. Temari caught her falling friend as Shukaku quickly leapt backwards. The severed hand now dissolved back into a formless pile of sand. Naruto immediately clutched his right shoulder even as he staggered. Temari-chan. What are you, short of breath? And still in pain? Naruto's speech was littered with inconsistencies, doing here. Temari hastily explained. I felt Shukaku return, and I saw what happened through the holes in the wall. She spoke faster. Anyways, we have to escape now. It doesn't have proper control over both Gaara's feet, so we can. I can't, the boy shouted in return. Naruto-kun. Come on. This is enough, she demanded. Damn it, she'd put up with a lot so far, but she just couldn't take this anymore. Look at yourself. What can you do right now? That was very true. However, Temari-chan, look closer. Even as sand gathered to reform the stump Shukaku's right arm had turned into, sand was still continuing to seep over Gaara's body. The face was on its way to becoming completely demonic, and only the left arm and leg remained to be taken. That thing's trying to take him over, Naruto muttered quietly, and it will never let him out once it does. It must be stopped here. She wanted to protest. She wanted to say, screw it, hoist Naruto onto her back, and run for it. But those thoughts reeked of betrayal. She knew he'd never forgive her and he'd just crawl back here for sure. Why, even now, why do you still have to fight against this nightmare that makes my knees shake with that hateful expression, staring at us as if we're to be executed? Temari-chan, just get out of here, the boy said not unkindly, wavering on his feet. Temari had never, ever seen her fellow blonde so weak, and it unnerved her. Naruto-kun. I'm fine, the boy slumped to kneeling, coughing up blood. Unlike the usual times this happened to him, this time was simply due to having a few ribs broken and floating around free to poke at internal organs. As for Shukaku, that thing was calmly reconstructing its hand. But chakra lines for reconstruction were different than those of reinforcement. They were weaker. Even Temari-chan had managed to break through the weaker sand. That thing wasn't moving because it was vulnerable as hell. But that was fine. Even if he had the strength left, Naruto had no desire to try to kill it. And Gaara within. Just yet. No, a silent standoff suited him perfectly. Temari-chan, just run away. You don't have to be here at all. Flabbergasted, Temari stared at her almost stupidly brave friend. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Actually, I'd really like to run away, thank you very much. You understand perfectly. Good luck. Is what I'd like to say. The girl tried to smile, but managed only a grim and pained expression in clenching her teeth. Gulping nervously, Temari nevertheless made her stand. So friends are just left out of the picture, she blurted with bravado. What? Was all the boy could whisper. And as it impacted the ground before his face and sent small chunks of floor around, Naruto became aware of just how heavy Temari's fan really was. That thing you said before, I won't let my comrades die without a fight, or something. A motto in your family? I think it's stupid. She took a deep breath and pointed a shaking, accusatory finger at Naruto. It should be, I won't let my friends die without a fight. Naruto looked up from his kneeling position, speechless. He knew very well how terrified Temari was of Gaara. Even if he hadn't seen her fear before, back on the rooftops, any fool could see it now. With her ashen-pale face, her quavering voice, and her limbs that would not stop shivering in fear, it was fairly obvious. Temari-chan, hey. I guess you, also, have your share of guts. It's your suggestion, that's stupid, he informed ruefully. Something so obvious, can't be a motto, he smiled at her wanly. Thanks. But there's one condition, Naruto muttered as he scooted backwards. For Temari, who was standing to Naruto's right, it was the first time she discovered that the boy had been doing something all this time. On the ground, in the line of sight that was previously blocked by his body, Temari saw that her friend had been writing a seal in his own blood. She felt a chill. What is that? Small but intricate, a circle was written into the ground and was crammed with lines, curves, and kanji that she could not make out. It was messy and smeared in places. Writing a seal in blood is never preferred. But the level was far beyond her. That condition is, Naruto, grunting, informed. If you see me go crazy, then you have to run away, at full speed. Just run, as far as you can. Don't you dare stop. And so saying, Naruto painfully leaned forwards, pressing his forehead against the seal on the ground. Hearing a quick, what's that for? He barely managed a two-word explanation of emergency key before his body got fed up with him, pushing him into unconsciousness. X recap. Chapter 2X, I don't understand it much, but it's a lock, Naruto reiterated, it cuts Kyuubi out of the loop. And it seals off a quarter of my chakra to stay active all the time. Naruto nodded. Nei-chan picked out the day. She said making it work once every new moon would be more convenient. It's not bad, but I can't fight or train very well. I feel sick and cough up blood a lot. X end recap XX unconscious domain, the cage X. There it is, the boy muttered. Before him stood a massive wall of intricate, incandescent lines. They rose up from the floor and shrouded everything beyond. Here goes, I'll shatter this lock seal in one punch. X, real world, 98 Roppu Street X, S sir, this is what you'll look like, Temari spoke. Whatever the plan Naruto had in mind, she hadn't been informed of her role at all. Understandable, it seems he'd had something in mind before she'd even shown up. All he wanted to do was get free of Shukaku's grip, and she'd helped with that. So wait, wasn't her role over already? What the hell am I doing? No, even if wasn't part of the original plan, there should be something she could do as the only person conscious and on Naruto's side. What she could do was, shush Shukaku-san, shall we talk? What I can do, is stall for time. Hurry up Naruto-kun. Little girl, the serious, yet still high-pitched voice began. I know you, you are, his sister, the word was hissed contemptuously. That infidel must die, and I know how you fear me. Kill that fool. Kill that fool and you can live. For her part, Temari was shocked at the demon's proposal for her own reasons. This doesn't make any sense, her numb mind insisted. Was I wrong? Doesn't Shukaku love to kill? Isn't this the monster that loves to hunt and kill its prey? The more interesting the better. No, I can't be wrong. Why is it giving up on killing Naruto-kun? The realization was daunting. It's afraid. Despite holding every advantage, Shukaku is weary. It's worried that Naruto has something huge up his sleeve and hastily wants to end this fight before he gets a chance to attack again. I see. Temari's critical mind, even under stressful and terrified conditions, it is something to be respected. If it's just me, then I don't have a chance either at fighting, or stalling such a monster, but the trump card is, please, consider the situation as Shukaku-san, my trump card is that I'm that unpredictable idiot's comrade. I'm his proxy here, in other words, I can speak on the behalf of that person which Shukaku is afraid of. Yes. If there's one area where I'm confident to stand over Naruto-kun, it has to be in sly mental games like chess. I'll fight with my words. This will be a battle of trickery. By now, the girl hesitantly began, why you should understand that Naruto-kun is strong, I don't think there needs to be any proof from me about this. Oh God, she hoped this would at least sound like such believable bullshit that Shukaku would divert concentration from regenerating its arm to listen. I'll realize that your true form is much greater than this, but in your current form, isn't this too much of a risk? She tried, hard, not to plead. Whether Naruto-kun's an infidel or an interesting prey, you can't do anything if you're dead, right? And, whatever strength your true form has, it doesn't matter if you're dead before you can reach that, right? Shukaku hadn't been very sane, even before coming to the human world. But there had been a time, long ago, where some semblance of reason had inhabited it. Some part of that logic had remained intact, sealed or partitioned off, in the area reserved, reverently, in its mind for the top priority matters concerning Kyubi-sama. However, this was a fraction of a fraction after all. That fool insulted Kyubi-sama. He would oppose Kyubi-sama. Shukaku bellowed, what are you saying? It demanded. A delay in his death? Impossible. My own life or death is not a problem. Your life or death is not a problem. If that scum can die right now, any price is fine, the enraged demon hissed. X unconscious domain X, shit, it won't break. No matter how much I punch this thing it won't budge. Damn it, the seal is really written well. My chakra is slammed into this wall too damn well to simply break it, no matter how hard I try. Another way, I need a new angle. There was silence for a time. The boy needed a solution, fast. But it is my chakra. This wall is constructed from the energy that fuels my body and soul. If that's the case, even if it's locked into this form by a written seal, then, that's it. Here, the boy slammed his forehead against the surface, gritting his teeth. Come on. You're my chakra, aren't you? Do what I want you to do, damn it. If it's a matter of controlling chakra, I won't lose. The boy tightened his eyes in concentration. Any direction is okay. Just don't stay in that seal. Break out, come on, come on, come on. You stupid wall. Normally, I'm very grateful that you're here. I can reach levels of chakra control that are fantastic, and I can live life in a more normal circumstance. But damn it, right now I need you to go away, so, just, dissapear. The last word, echoing throughout the area, signaled the end of Naruto's struggle, as the wall obediently cracked and then, the circuit being broken. It shattered into what looked like 100,000 pieces, and the massive sea of red energy beyond became visible. No, in fact, the terrible truth was that the hard part was only beginning. Shit, the boy swore even as the sea of red looked to crush him, as if it were a tidal wave. This is going to hurt like hell. However, it had been what he'd waited for, and so he charged headfirst into it with a battle cry. X. Real world, 98th Roppu Street X. An ear-piercing wail made itself known in the middle of the heavy atmosphere. Temari's attention was immediately diverted. Naruto-kun. Her eyes widening, she screamed in shock, "Why, you're on fire!" Indeed, the back of Naruto's shirt and jacket had caught fire. Not wanting to expose him, she continued to hold the fan up while trying to out the fire, hastily kicking the inflammable blonde. She didn't realize the futility of her actions until, his shirt isn't on fire, Temari whispered to herself, fearfully, his back is. As the ashes of Naruto's once pristine top fell away, the intricate tattoo on his back became quite visible, as it was lined in a searing fire. X. Unconscious domain. The cage X. As the red mist converged upon Naruto and he became lost in the sensation of having his body suddenly screwed with on an epic level, a voice pierced through his foggy mind as the pain immediately slowed to a fraction of itself. "So, the brave jailer has come to visit again. How odd. What the hell are you doing?" "Just what it seems, jailer-san. I can't stop it all. I am ever under the power of that man's seal. But I can do this much at least. That blue wall of yours suddenly disappeared at once, unlike its usual, gradual vanishing act. Not expecting your human mind or body to sustain such a situation, I sought to regulate things. I expected gratitude. You're not winning any favors, QB. I'd rather it be the opposite." "Intriguing. Then you wish to suffer more. You could say that. As much as possible." "Amazing. Then I take it that assistance would constitute a favor." "Well, shit, you aren't even going to let it return to the normal flow, are you, you bastard?" "My question has yet to be answered. Would it constitute a favor?" Naruto grit his teeth and glared for all he was worth, but Temari and Gaara were out there right now, and he simply didn't have time for this. He didn't have time for anything. Clamping his eyes shut, it was none the less a horrific effort to ground out yes. A low, foreboding chuckle greeted him. "Then, jailer-san, we have an agreement. URK, KRK. You, a quadruple AR. Such a fascinating child. Enjoy my power, jailer-san. AAAAARH. I'll remind you to try to survive. A dead jailer can't repay his debts, after all." X. Real world, 98th Roppu Street X. Naruto, who was screaming, unconscious, and on fire, was basically the only hope left for Temari. "Naruto-kun, just what in the world are you doing?" "Enough talk," Shukaku demanded. The puny human boy had held back up to a quarter of his true energy, and for what, Shukaku knew not. But that energy had simply disappeared and was now replaced by a new, strange feeling. A familiar feeling, but too minuscule to identify. Whatever it was, this, surely was the true desperation technique being played. A strange human, with strange and powerful techniques. Shukaku did not want the last technique to be actualized. So, the tailed beast, right arm reformed, charged at Temari with a battle wail, "Die!" With impossible speed, Temari found a demon before her, its massive claw shattering through her fan with ease and appearing inches from her midsection. "Naruto-kun," she clearly thought in the space between seconds, which all people are allotted before death, "I'm sorry." Clenching her eyes shut in fear, she could only grunt as all wind was emptied from her lungs as she was hurled recklessly like a rag doll. But she did not die. She was roughed up, but it was a wonder that was all. Standing where she had been previously, Shukaku sneered at the far wall in front of it. "At the last moment, Naruto-kun pushed me to the side." Then, Temari, too, snapped her head to where Shukaku was sneering. There, through a hole in the wall and across the street, a pile of rubble covered Naruto's form, and only a singular leg could be seen protruding from the wreckage there, at an impossible and clearly broken angle. "Naruto-kun." Shukaku did not even acknowledge Temari as she sprinted to her friend's side. The boy had been sent flying through the wall of 98th Roppu Street, and had then crashed into a small, one-story, water storage unit. If he had not died from the impact or having the rubble crushing him, then he would shortly drown to death. Reaching his side, Temari quickly tried to check her friend's leg. Ow. He's burning up. In fascination, she watched the leg twitch uneasily before immediately snapping back to its proper angle, and with a sickening pop and a drawn-out hissing sound, became completely healed. Spluttering water all the while, Naruto slowly rose out of the wreckage. This battle, the red-eyed boy whispered, has gone on way too long. Though he said this, he was crippled by a bloody coughing fit in the next moment. But Temari did not miss the way his voice seemed to bleed power. Naruto didn't look forward to the limp back to 98th Roppu Street, so he was actually grateful when Shukaku's powerful legs carried it before him in an instant. With relief, he noted that Gaara's left hand hadn't been taken yet. I can still get him back. Mortal. The tanuki demanded, closing its fist around Naruto's upper arm. You will answer me, what HAV? No, I won't. The blonde rebuffed steely. Taking a deep breath, he continued. And who do you call mortal? Shukaku's eyes widened, its grip loosened, and that was enough. With explosive strength, Naruto ripped Shukaku's arm from him and grabbed the demon's head in a fierce grip, bringing his slit-eyed stare inches from the tanuki's golden-eyed expression of shock. What's wrong, Shukaku? The boy began. Don't tell me you can't sense it. Then I will show it to you. Gritting his teeth, Naruto drew more demonic power into himself, until the enduring pain he'd been putting up with became white-hot and crippling. In fact, he was now using his grip on Shukaku's head to steady himself, though the demon did not notice anything. Even when the red chakra now storming out of Naruto began to melt the sides of its sand-composed face into glass, Shukaku remained frozen. Kyubi-sama. Kneel, hearing the single word from Naruto, as if Shukaku were not a tanuki but actually a trained dog, its body instantly and obediently followed the command as if out of pure reflex, its knees hitting the floor with a massive thud. Why, your majesty. Watching the reverently bowed head, Naruto had now placed his hands on Shukaku's shoulders. He still needed to support his weight after all. Shukaku simply failed to care as it turned its face upwards again and was splattered with coughed-up blood. Panting, Naruto continued. Loyal minion. You must be confused. Shukaku, on its part, didn't know what to think at all. But it could feel. And this one feeling, this one particular power could not lie, could never be faked, and could never be stolen. Some pitiful fools had tried, before, in the demon realm. In his amusement, Kyubi-sama had allowed those rebels to trap some of his chakra inside themselves. Under Kyubi-sama's smallest flicker of intent, the chakra had killed the rebels in seconds, acting as the most brutal and powerful poison imaginable. About those things I said, Naruto bravely continued, gambling everything on his believability and the only power of Kyubi's at his disposal, authority. Temari, now hiding behind a building in an attempt to stay as out of the way as possible, watched in equal awe and fear as her friend struggled briefly to come up with some believable bullshit. I was merely testing your faith, Naruto said seriously. Actions are the most important after all, and you have proven yourself. That's bullshit. Temari almost cried aloud. Naruto-kun, that's going too far. No one's going to believe such. Really? Shukaku squealed. Yes, he believed it. Temari struggled to accept this. Listen, Shukaku, here he coughed some more blood which again went unnoticed. Though I am like this. I am not Kyubi-sama, but am in fact his right-hand man. You? The demon asked in wonder. Yes. He has, Naruto, still in his pain-fogged mind, struggled for what to say, blessed me with his power, as you can see. Be happy, for Kyubi-sama is pleased with your crap. What was the word? Damn it, he needed to sound serious. Devotion. If Shukaku had been happy before, it now looked ready to get up and skip around while clapping like a child. Naruto made sure to keep the demon kneeling with a serious look. Now, do nothing, but stay quietly within your host, Gaara, and await further orders. I see, Temari analyzed. He quickly ran out of believable things to say. I will contact you again, on the next new moon. Yes, Your Highness. One more thing. Naruto's grip tightened, and this time Shukaku did notice. If you dare to disobey, and cause death or trouble for your host, red eyes narrowed into slits, I'll kill you. It was a promise. But whether it was a part of the bluff, or a real promise from Naruto himself, even Temari couldn't tell. Why yes, Your Highness. Disappear. With that simple order, Shukaku spoke a quick, "Hi," and in the next instant the sand composing its body fell apart, revealing the human inside. As Naruto caught the falling boy, his own legs gave in and the two fell to the floor on Naruto's back. That was, Naruto let out a long, shaky breath, feeling much tension leave his body despite the enduring pain he was under. One hell of a thing. But finally, the stupid tanuki is down, for real, this time. Kind of. For now, Naruto-kun, Temari approached. That is you, right? Yeah, the boy mumbled back. It was very awkward to hear that echoing, powerful voice speak in a tired tone. Sorry, and he did look it, as well. I'll tell you about this QB crap later. I'm not crazy though. Ah, hey. She didn't know why the chuckles started, but the raw relief she felt, knowing that the danger had, somehow, been past, probably had something to do with it. Ha. All right. As long as you tell me. Sorry, but can you help me and Gaara back home? Sure. Temari helped her friend up, but she glanced uneasily at her brother. Startled, Naruto snapped his head to look at her in the eye. Even now, you're still afraid of him. You can't even touch him. Seeing Temari silently and sadly turn her head away in response, he sighed with bitterness. That's a damn shame. I think so too. The boy listened, somewhat understanding what his friend was trying to say. Is that so? Well, then, that's not so bad at all. This light-hearted response seemed not to be the type Temari was expecting. Really? She asked, practically incredulous. What, are you suddenly stupid? With this, then? As long as you can keep that attitude, and gather up the guts to stand by it, then. The blonde demon container smiled tiredly. Any other problems are just annoyances. Hey, Temari scoffed softly to herself. Is that so? This time, the immediate reply was to be expected. That's so. It was 3 days after the Shukaku incident. Naruto, whose broken bones, burns, and even fatigue had been cured by Kyuubi's chakra, had already rested his mind and soul and was ready to go. Sunagakure, Ho-Oh family residence, temporary, You want to go where? Temari prompted. To the seamstresses. So what? Naruto replied indignantly. Boys can want to go to the seamstresses, if they want to. Not if the boy is you. Temari insisted with a flat look. What's going on? Cocking an eyebrow that said, what? You really can't tell what this is about? Naruto explained. Look, if Car-chan finds out I had a fight where my clothes were almost destroyed, my bones were broken, and my back was covered in second-degree burns, what do you think will happen? I'll tell you what'll happen. Naruto shouted. You can just forget about Nugi of instant humiliation, or burning Nugi of 100 retributions. I'm going to have to fear for my life, the boy informed with such a straight face and even tone, that Temari was wondering if he was exaggerating or not. Wait, she might really ban ramen this time. No, I don't even want to think about it. But if it's Car-chan, then maybe she might even do it. Be that as it may, Naruto, who was preoccupied with this horrified thought, failed to hear his friend. What do you think? He asked her seriously. She wouldn't, right? I mean, punching me into the wall or Nugis until my hair actually catches on fire, that's one thing, but ramen bans are just too cruel, don't you think? Temari held up a hand as if to say, now just stop right there. Naruto-kun, I really can't make comments on your family, as it doesn't match with any normality at all, Temari informed. Anyways, why is going to the seamstresses so important? Haven't you been listening? He demanded. We need to erase all evidence, or I'm in deep trouble, he pointed out. My outfit was destroyed, so I have to go replace it. Temari blinked. Don't you have 7 of those or something? Is it really urgent? And where are you even going to get the money? You said those things were made of crystal silk, from water country. Do you know how expensive that is over here? 100,000 yen just for a meter of cloth. Ah, oh well, he fake lamented. Don't worry about me, he assured her. If you don't want to come, then you can just stay here alone with an unconscious Gaara, and a Shukaku that will probably be obedient and not try to take over Gaara's mind in his sleep and kill you very painfully. That's not exactly, I mean, don't get me wrong, the seamstresses sounds like fun. I love going to the seamstresses. Naruto blinked. I was just teasing, Temari sweat-docked. Well, even if you say that now. Well, whatever, Naruto assented, rummaging under his bed for his frog-shaped money pouch. It's not like I know where the seamstresses would even be, much less prices and qualities and stuff. So it's good that you're coming. Here he paused. Also I've been thinking about getting you a present anyways. What? Noting that the boy had dropped such a conspicuous statement before leaving as if this was a perfectly natural thing to do, Temari chased after him. Wait, you said, present, hey, clarify that a little. Later, Sakyu Residence Temari sighed, holding the large brown paper bag by its handles as she stepped in the door. I'm back. Oh, Kankuro met her as she was removing her sandals. Yo, so you're home now? Just here for an hour, she tiredly explained. To check in with father, and then I'm leaving again. And what's that? Kankuro pointed at the offending object. This, Temari hefted tiredly. This is a present from Naruto-kun. That was quite interesting. A present? What for? What is it? It is, Temari started seriously, the most tacky, ugly, and absurd thing I've ever seen in my life. Is that so? Inside the bag, incidentally, was a silken summer kimono bought at an expensive and classy place that she'd only dreamt of entering before that day. However, the terrible catch was that its pristine white base was embroidered with flowers, small animals, clouds and the such. However, what was uniquely distressing about this kimono was that the animals were frogs and they, like the flowers, clouds, and such, were solid, vibrant orange. This was all wrought by a master's hand, but that master had evidently been thinking very strange thoughts during the creation of this piece. The seamstress of the place had been embarrassed and horrified that the kimono was even in public sight, and had apparently screwed up somewhere, putting it with the normal inventory. Of course, Naruto had fallen in love with it instantly and had even demanded a male kimono with the same theme. As for the particulars of this event, well, that was something for another time, perhaps. If it's so terrible, Kankuro began, why don't you just get rid of it? Here Temari looked truly sad and wistful. Kankuro, have you ever gotten something from someone very close to you, and even though you hate it, you still feel like cherishing it anyways? There was a lengthy pause before. No, I haven't. Me either, was the soft response as Temari kept her eyes locked on the bag in her hands. Because for us there aren't such people to begin with. This, the girl began while walking smoothly past her brother, is my first one. So, I'm planning to hold on to it. Kankuro, who had been stunned by the frank way his sister had suddenly touched on a delicate and strange topic, and was now on the path to silent contemplation as to what had brought this on, and the meaningfulness of her words, snapped out of it and turned when she suddenly addressed him again. Oh, that's right, she said, almost in afterthought, I should really introduce you to. She gave him a pissed-off look. Wash off that terrible makeup first. This elicited an immediate response. Shut up. It's not bad for an amateur try. I'm still a novice, Kankuro argued. And, realizing what he had failed to deny, he quickly added, and another thing, it's not makeup. His sister revealed a thoroughly shocked expression. She slowly began, a little disturbed that you denied it being makeup secondly, and like it was an afterthought. She apparently tried to firm her resolve and continued. Anyways, it's none of my business, but that thing is ugly, so get rid of it. Looking only a little ill, she continued. If you want to, then you can tell him in words rather than makeup that you're
Horrified at being misread, Kankuro was swift with his interrupting denial. I'm not like that. Seriously. Just listen. He feverishly pleaded. You see, there's not only girl makeup, but actor makeup. Yes, he declared passionately. This is a common oversight. In fact, isn't it obvious that an actor's wardrobe is the job of a makeup artist? But commonly, people still.
But Temari had already left. I'm not. Kankuro denied pitifully to the empty air. Will someone please, at least listen to me? Necessary departure. The Hao's stay in Sunagakure was one filled with tension and complications. However, after all the strife was over, the family would communally look back on their time there and say, it was worth it. However, for a number of reasons they simply had to leave. This was harder on Naruto than his family, as he had to depart from his friends, one of whom had some need of him. But even Naruto agreed that it was time to leave. The rationale for this was simply, it was for the best. Sadly, shortly after Gaara had awoken, Shukao had as well. While the demon was now placated, or rather, subservient, the cause for this was simply a bluff. Naruto was no right hand of Kyuubi. He was the demon's container, its jailer. If Shukaku were ever to discover this fact, an imminent catastrophe would arise and Gaara's mind would likely be the first casualty. And so, mere days before the coming of the next new moon, Naruto himself suggested that they depart. It was a somber affair. Temari sported the kind of reluctant sadness that came from a person well prepared in the mind, but not the heart. Kankuro revealed a kind of awkwardness, and Gaara showed nothing. In fact, by Gaara's blank and empty image, as if he were a mannequin, it was as if the previous days had never happened. Yes, even when Naruto walked forwards with arms raised for embrace, there was no reaction. Temari stepped forwards and met Naruto. Take care, Naruto-kun. I don't know what kind of trouble you'll get into out there without someone like me to keep your head on your shoulders, but, she pushed a smile up, keep the collateral damage to a minimum, okay? Naruto drew back and laughed. Don't worry. Shizune Nichan takes care of that stuff. Temari chuckled too. Then try not to stress her out too much, dummy. Don't worry. Nei-chan's hardened from years of dealing with Ka-chan. For her, there isn't anything called too much about this topic. And no. Temari denied. That's not quite what I was saying. The blonde girl shook her head. There was just no helping it. Naruto had his own brand of idiocy after all. Anyways. She discreetly flicked her eyes to her little brother. Are you sure? It's okay. Leaving him like this? She wanted to ask. Leaving us with him while he's like this? You mean Gaara? As usual, the boy didn't care much for subtlety, as the boy they were talking about was perhaps a foot away. Yeah. He'll be fine. That. Temari swallowed her protests. All right. If you say so. Kankuro, he turned to address the puppeteer. It would have been nicer if we met earlier. Next time, let's do some 3 or 4 person games for a change. Ah, why yeah, Kankuro awkwardly shook Naruto's outstretched hand. I can tell you really love the culture of kabuki actors since you paint your face every day even though it looks like makeup and you probably aren't into guys. Keep it up. You will surely get better at it someday. I will tell you it isn't easy to stick with it, Kankuro sighed. Wait, what's with that, probably? Ignoring the puppet master in training's cry of, give me a break already, Naruto faced his last, goodbye. Kohai, Gaara flinched. Finally being addressed. A hand fell to ruffle his hair, and it was Temari and Kankuru's turn to flinch. Besides Naruto, there still wasn't anybody who could approach that close to Gaara's space without danger. Kohai? Shizune mouthed to her mentor, very confused. Tsunade just shrugged. Like a lot of kids, Naruto frequently bent the already flexible, depending on the situation and tone, rules of titles and honorifics. Exactly in which way was Naruto this kid's senior? Senpai, Gaara whispered back. Remember to take care of yourself, Gaara, Naruto reminded. Eat right. You want to grow up properly, right? Nod, your body's frail from undernourishment too, so be careful of accidents and stuff. Nod, and, the blonde seemed to struggle for something else. confident that there was more. Remember to get some proper sleep. Nod, and don't let that punk Tanuki push you around. She's a bully. And do we listen to bullies? Head shake. No, Tsunade-sama, Shizune whispered. Doesn't it seem like? Why yeah. Tsunade nodded. Rather than senpai kohai, I somehow want to call this parent-child, or protective big brother, little brother. Right, Naruto nodded, not seeming to mind that Gaara wouldn't meet his gaze. Well, just take care of yourself, Gaara. Don't do anything you don't agree with. I'll see you around. Nod. The children said their final goodbyes, and the Houyus began their long trek out of the Tsunagakure territory. Gaara, Temari mumbled bravely, watching the tense back of her brother and the distant and disappearing back of her friend. Are you really all right with it like this? Shouldn't you at least say something? Naruto-senpai. The boy choked out, and as loud as his lungs could afford, shouted. Next time, let's have some more taiyaki. Even in the distance, one could see Naruto's responding grin. Sure. Naruto silently led the way. Actually, it was a hell of a lot easier than walking here. The heavy wind which had fought them on the way to Tsunagakure was now to their backs after all. As for Shizune, she could do with some conversation. Does it seem like something happened between Naruto-kun and that Gaara-san? He was very withdrawn during our departure. Tsunade struck a thoughtful pose while walking. That may be so. Possibly he was bullied like that pink girl Naruto said he met in Kohona. Since he has a pretty outstanding face, she recalled the red love kanji tattooed to his head. However, to strike at the true core of my personal concerns. Tsunade-sama. The Sannin huffed, frowning. Honestly, I'm really itching for more information on the Naruto-Temari situation. Tsunade-sama, could you possibly be thinking? I mean, Tsunade began, still posing thoughtfully as her eyes glinted quite dangerously. Like I said, I demand information on any cute, first romantic encounter, situation. She declared, before clenching her fist before her in despair. Damn it. As soon as I leave for a few weeks, this kind of thing happens out of my sight. A precious part of Naru-chan's development. Tsunade-sama. Oi Naru-chan? Naruto turned quizzically. Ignoring silent pleads from her apprentice to stop, Tsunade carried on anyways. What's your relationship with that Temari anyways? The boy's face screwed up in a kind of disbelieving confusion. Haven't you met her plenty of times? Don't compare this and that. Tsunade, tsked, back then it was a clearly platonic relationship. What do you care? Naruto demanded. Platonic? Non-romantic? Or rather, isn't it still like that? Oi. You know that I'm a girl, right? What? Of course. Then I'm telling you I know these things. Tsunade tapped the side of her temple in emphasis. I know what it means when a woman puts up with wearing something like that, in order to look beautiful just to that one certain person. She nodded resolutely to herself, as if that settled things. That kimono, so orange, so green, so many frogs. It must be love. I'll take a lot of pictures next time. Naruto would have been incredulous at his mother's radical jumping to conclusions, as well as her anti-orange and wholly backward sense of style, but he could tell from the starry look in her eyes that she was already in a far-away place. A far-away, and really scary place sometimes, because she could just get that odd in a weird, maternal way. It wasn't worth it arguing with her. Probably. It's just a mother thing. Eager to change the conversation, Shizune fell into step with her mentor and little brother. Naruto-kun, do you have the mailing address? Yeah. Naruto swiftly turned from his mother and her wild accusations. That's good, Shizune smiled. Living this kind of semi-nomadic lifestyle, Shizune was concerned that Naruto would suffer from such a non-permanent environment. Having constant pen pals regardless of where he was in the world. Such a thing was indeed welcomed. Your number of pen pals has grown, hasn't it? It's great. Flashback X. Well, Naruto began, having just picked up his mother's massive sake scroll. That's everything. Senpai, hi Gaara. A part of him regretted the whole senpai-kohai arrangement. It inherently implied a kind of inequality, though only within a certain field. And there was something so wrong with being forced to act at all times. Of course, Naruto knew a little about espionage and the value of a good, reliable bluff. Hey, he was a ninja, right? But this was different. After Naruto and the Tanukis throw down, the only thing keeping the insane demon subdued was its loyalty to its king, Kyuubi-sama, and by extension Naruto, the right hand of that king. It wasn't a matter of convincing Shukaku that Naruto was somehow operating under Kyuubi. He'd shown enough proof already, and religious fanatics were never known for their questioning of their superiors. It was a matter of showing some goddamn respect to the right hand of God. The normal humans didn't know anything about Naruto's divine station, and so their ignorant level of respect towards him could be tolerated, even encouraged if Naruto was in disguise, so to speak. But those who knew, and especially Gaara, who was pumped full of enough Yuki to be applied for honorary demonship already, should show a different level of respect. Even if it worked against Naruto's imaginary cover, there wasn't any helping it. It was already a miracle that a religious fanatic could have his standards bent to this degree. And Sir Naruto was the senpai, he who was looked up to and respected, the senior, the wiser, the one who knew the ropes and could offer valuable advice, the sometimes protector and instructor of the kohai, who in turn paid respect and humbleness. It fell short of the level that Shukaku thought appropriate, but hell, he'd just have to deal with the will of God's right hand. Well, it wasn't a weak enough respect to drive the Tanuki into a berserk state, and neither was it strong enough to unsettle anyone important, such as Gaara's father, so it was fine. Naruto addressed the red-headed boy in front of himself. Well, this is it, Gaara. I have to go now. I can't stay here any longer. Yes, then let's say goodbye. Here. I know you don't do so well in public. Senpai. The boy began in a voice small and weak, a voice that only recently found need for exercise. I just wanted to thank you. I am really happy to be called a friend by you. Without you, I couldn't have changed anything. And there was a sharp snap of movement, and the next thing Naruto knew, Gaara had bowed very deeply at the waist. Thank you. That did it. Embarrassedly, Naruto scratched his cheek and looked away. I'll remember to write, Gaara. It's a promise. End flashback X, Naruto-kun. Naruto shook out of his reverie. Sorry, what did you say, Nei-chan? I was asking what the rush was for. She looked concerned. Although simple Konoha citizen immigrants have a limited period of time to stay in other countries, we're still leaving early. Is it really okay? Sure. Naruto nodded. Car-chan's getting grumpy without a proper gambling hut. Not to mention the debt people are probably catching on to our location. And I also have to go. There are a lot of reasons. Naruto sighed. Ah, that's true, Shizune admitted, restraining the depression in her voice. Though Tsunade was making some kind of effort to reduce her debt, sadly the transgressions of her past and present cannot be erased so quickly. And you've also passed your test, right? Naruto pointed out. It's just time to go. Well, Shizune remained reluctant. It's good that you're all right with it. You can always write them or visit, too. Although actually, she began, putting a "what can you do about it" smile on. Actually, I didn't pass. Naruto exclaimed. But Car-chan said. An exception was made, Shizune continued. I was supposed to handle the patients on my own, but in the end I ran for Tsunade-sama anyways. I clearly violated the rules. Furthermore, during that time the patients were left unattended. Shizune hated to have her adoptive little brother think any less of her, but she disliked keeping secrets from him on simple principle. I actually failed. Actually, she used an F stamp and red ink on my forehead, knocking me unconscious. Naruto's eyebrows shot up. But she said you passed. She even said you graduated bravely. Ah ha ha ha, Shizune laughed, embarrassed. Well, that's because I quickly regained consciousness and forced her into doing her best to help the patient. Now that was alarming. What's more, his kind, placid sister just spoke such a sentence with her usual smile and as if she was talking about cooking dinner. You did? To Ka-chan, how exactly? While it was true that his Nei-chan had occasionally trained him in various things, they were always very tame. Nothing advanced. Surely, she had some kind of mysterious ranking in Konoha's forces in the past, but to force Ka-chan into something. The amazing Shinane. Could it be that within an unassuming demeanor lays incredible power? Yes, the mysterious elder sister smiled pleasantly, with blackmail. Naruto was not quite sure what to think. Somehow, I feel that it's almost as amazing. Nichan, he began, you're kind of different today. Really? Well, helping the shoujus was a very difficult experience and I'm really so happy that things worked out. Naruto nodded. The so-called flesh-eating disease. He didn't know too much about it, only that it was a bacterial infection. I'm just happy that everything worked out. Here, the medic Nin positively beamed. I'm so glad that Tsunade-san and her family are all right. Naruto looked thoughtful. Flesh-eating disease, huh? I wonder what it looks like. These words snapped Shizune out of her reminiscence. Hearing a question, she quickly moved into lecture mode. Actually, the scientific name is necrotizing fasciitis or fasciitis necroticans. It doesn't really eat the flesh. The bacteria produces toxins that deprive the body's cells of oxygen. Ah, Naruto exclaimed. So it's not flesh-eating but more like suffocating of the cells. His sister nodded encouragingly. That's a good way of putting it, Naruto-kun. You've got a good grasp of it. Ehehe, Naruto smiled under the praise. But for what it looks like. Shizune continued with her lecture, face dropping back into a frown as she remembered images. The flesh becomes inflamed, possibly purple, and then simply seems to die. Naruto's face mirrored his sister's somberness. What must it be like to deal with such an image? No, that's a lot of what a medic Nin was about. Both a town medic and a field medic dealt with disturbing realities on regular basis. That brand of grossness should become very familiar to someone in this profession. It's disturbing. And antibiotics only go so far. The rate of spread and of destruction can be too high. In the end, you'll have to use surgery to remove affected parts and that's not pretty either. Even after it's healed. No, it's not, a voice interrupted. Tsunade-sama. Shizune exclaimed, not having seen her mentor fall into step on Naruto's other side. Since when were you listening in? Since about when you started spacing out. Did you come back to your senses? Naruto flatly asked. Tsunade responded in a warning tone. Watch it, brat, or your behavior will negatively affect whether I give my blessings to you and that girl or not. Now you're just trying to piss me off. The boy violently objected. Tsunade didn't say anything. She just gave him a look, as if to say, regardless of how you deny it, I know the truth of the matter and the sooner you give up and admit the situation to me, then the sooner we can move forwards. She then snapped her line of sight away from her incredulous son and towards the distant horizon with a cool, self-assured air. Naruto could already imagine his first letter to Tsunagakure. Dear Temari, urgent business. Ka-chan's lost it. If you see her or there is mail or a message from her, run as far away as possible. Trust me, her son, on this issue. I'm serious. Naruto, anyways, the village handled that horribly, Tsunade scowled. That bacteria isn't even airborne infective, she sighed. What was that banishment all about? Quarantine. Nonsense. Well, Shizune shrugged weakly, maybe they were just being cautious. The disease is very rare, but it's frightening. Cautious? No, the mentor shook her head. Just normal sanitation would have handled the issue of infection. Gloves. Masks. Standard sanitary procedures. Procedures which are proven to work and which, even if they weren't standard in this village, could have been afforded with ease. Maybe the public didn't know that, and maybe the shoujus were the same. But the medic nins there sure as hell did, and they didn't say a damn thing. The woman crossed her arms and sighed dismissively. It was a power play. Somebody shut those medics up. All of them. Do you think? Shizune muttered, that Mauro-san knew that as well. Tsunade briefly thought about Tsumane's husband. Guy comes from the shouju family. If it's in the political or economic arena, you shouldn't mess around with them. They're brought up tough, she recalled. As soon as you said, actually, it's only infectious by transfer of fluids, he was ready to kill something. Shizune recalled it too, and rather than any sort of normal reaction, she actually clasped her hands before her and became starry-eyed. Ah, it was so romantic, she wiped an emotional tear from her eye. At first Tsunade-san was feeling depressed because her face was left deformed. And of course she's very humble in a way, coming from humble origins and such. But when her husband reached across their sickbeds, took her hand and said, Shizune began, imitating a sort of heavy baritone. Stop that kind of talk, Tsunade-chan. To me you are dearly necessary. Because if you aren't there, then who will hold me back from killing those bastards horribly? It was so cool. And when she said, even though her fever was still high, Shizune tried and failed overall to copy the breathy muttering of Tsunade-san, as she was simply too excited. I'm sorry Anita, but I can't do such a thing. For harming our children. I also want to kill them horribly. That was also very touching, the romantic exclaimed. And then he said, that's the kind of response I expect from my beautiful wife. Wow. It was great. Tsunade nodded in agreement. Naruto scratched his chin in thought. Huh, so that's a girl's idea of romance? Unexpectedly, it's pretty violent. As Shizune continued to bubble about the grand romance she witnessed, Naruto turned to his mother. Sakar-chan, Ne-chan says she passed because she blackmailed you. Tsunade, HMPH'd, she told you about that, did she? She grumbled. In order to save her patients she did what she honestly thought was best. It's true she broke the rules of that test, and she even blackmailed me into helping her, but her objective wasn't something I could disagree with. Besides, if that's the kind of determination she has, then she shouldn't break down if she has to work on her own. Oh, it wasn't that alone though, Tsunade smiled. The bacteria had mutated to adjust to her antibiotic. She needed me to quickly find a new one because my experience lets me handle that easier, and she was actually preoccupied with different thoughts. As I walked into that room and saw what she'd done, Tsunade mused, for just a second. Even I thought it was a miracle. She chuckled. I must be getting old. What did she do? Naruto asked, amazed. Tsunade got another far-off look. She radiated pride. What fantastic seal work. I want to know how long she's been working on it. What she did was create an artificial atmosphere of increased oxygen pressure. Naruto snapped his fingers. Oh, so the body starts to contain more oxygen. That's great. Yes, Tsunade nodded. A lot of the medics nowadays seem to think that the most potent procedures lie in interfering with the body. Antibiotics to fight the problem for the body, surgery to remove the afflicted parts, and so on. Don't mistake this, Naru-chan. Those methods surely have their place, Tsunade impressed. But frankly, we just can't match the power of the body's immune system. Increasing the oxygen content of her patient's blood, Shizune not only drastically reduced the death rate of her patient's cells by allowing them to effectively breathe, even the white blood cells were able to function properly and help strike back. Naruto sounded impressed. Cool, Tsunade grinned. That's right. Any condition that deprives the cells of oxygen can be helped by this, and we haven't explored all the uses for increasing the oxygen consumption either. It's a great contribution to medical treatment. As her mentor, I have no complaints about her capabilities. Of course, I have no complaints about her attitude after the dedication she showed either. So, she shrugged, it's a natural pass. Wow, Naruto smiled and turned to yell to his sister. That's great, Ne-chan. While this abundant praise was being dished out, Shizune was still babbling in the background. And she wanted more than anything for her hands to be spared, so that she could continue to act independently, feed and raise her children properly. Ooh. The boy's sweat dropped. She's not listening. It was then that a hand fell heavily on his shoulder, in an iron-like grip. Speaking of romance, Tsunade leered. Let's hear about this Temari situation. I thought you dropped that nonsense already, Naruto demanded. Tsunade, on her part, only quirked her eyebrow. I picked it back up, Now spill. Like hell. Hey brat. Quickly adjust her hold on him. Tsunade soon had the boy in a necklock. Do you want a noogie? Spill, I say. There's nothing to spill. Just leave it alone already, you nutball. Nutball? Now listen here. And so another argument broke out. Normally, Shizune would have said something to try mediating. However, and then he was all cool and said, Sumane, let's send them into despair together, kya. That's so sweet. At the moment, she was still stuck within her own world. Admit it. Tsunade noogied, no. Naruto ground out, even though he was on the receiving end of a grade 2 noogie. By the way, Naruto defined a grade 2 noogie as any noogie that can't be copied by a normal human being. Admit it. No. Admit it. No. Aha. Tsunade paused. Doesn't your screaming, no, mean that you have something and are refusing to admit it? That's not what I meant. Your heart gives you away. Tsunade declared righteously. Admit it. She noogied. Damn it, Car-chan. Naruto ground out. Crap. It's leveled up to grade 3 noogie and this doesn't look like it's going to end. I have to escape. I have to. I have to. Aha. Eureka. But, should I? That is too. No. At this point I don't have a choice. Suck it up, Naruto. Strike back. Foo. Foo 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 foo. Tsunade froze, hearing an unexpected, if strained from the neck hold, evil laugh from her son. The nonsense ends here, Car-chan. Naruto stated ominously. Although I don't really want to do it, you've pushed my limit. Prepare yourself. Tsunade, on her part, afforded the brat a suspicious look. Prepare for what exactly? For what? Naruto echoed amusedly, wriggling in his mother's grip so that his face turned up to meet her gaze. Well, he smiled pleasantly, of course it's blackmail. Tsunade released the boy, who she could practically imagine was in a dark aura of evil, as if burned. Shizune. Her mind screamed in horror. Foo 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 foo. Naruto chuckled darkly. Now that I think about it, don't I have a ton of blackmail material on you myself? Foo 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 foo. Shizune, what have you done? The horrified wails of terror echoing within Tsunade's mind were, of course, unheard by the apprentice in question, who was also still within her own world. They looked so wonderful together. She squealed. And so without realizing it, Shizune herself, for the very first time, contributed towards leading her little brother down the path of dishonor. When she later realized this, her own horrified scream of despair and denial would be heard across the vast desert. Omake Gaara didn't manage to gain much closeness with his elder siblings. The boy was simply too inexperienced with dealing with people and his siblings were simply too terrified. However, Temari and Kankuro did enjoy some sibling activities and perhaps that could be the start of a change in perspective. Tsunagakure x Temari, displaying the level of closeness she shared with her best friend, that her vocabulary could already be showing signs of contamination, shouted, oh, and dived behind the aforementioned companion. Sorry, Ho-Oh. Naruto observed the redhead impassively. "'Soke," he dismissed easily. Quiet as a mouse, and feeling roughly as powerful. Temari whispered, "Is it really okay? This is your level of okay?" from behind her protector. The cause of all this commotion had to do with waking up. After his 5-day slumber, Gaara had awoken most violently, instinctually lashing out at the two blondes. Just where even gather the sand from was a mystery. "Gaara, good morning. You were out for quite a time. Your body will probably feel really sluggish and weak for a while after such a long time unconscious, but don't worry about it too much. Anyways, I'm hungry as hell, and I've been putting this off," he muttered in displeasure. "You want to get going now?" What? Naruto shrugged, grinning. "Well, me and you have an outstanding promise after all. I'm talking about taiyaki, you know. Taiyaki. Dear God, he's smiling. Run for it." Temari felt like crying. Later, Tsunagakure rooftops. All right, I'm up," Kankuro announced, huffing as he made it up Temari's grappling hook. "We really need to learn wall walking." "Shush," Temari insisted in a strained whisper. "Get over here. And stay down." So what are we doing again? We're spying on Naruto-kun. Ah, Kankuro nodded understandably. Afraid that he's cheating on you. Why? He's not like that. She growled ominously. I mean, we're not like that. Aha, Kankuro drawled, shut up. Why is it that people keep jumping to conclusions about this kind of thing? The irate girl demanded. Is our society so hopelessly starved for anything vaguely romantic that such wild assumptions have taken importance over logic? How many times do I have to explain that we're just friends? Close friends, Kankuro amended offhandedly. Temari nodded automatically. Close FR, wait. Now don't start trying to twist things around to suit yourself. You're one to talk. This is a taste of your own medicine. Making my actors' makeup seem like something else. Always teasing me about my love for kabuki actors. Deep love, Temari amended offhandedly. Deep low, Kankuro froze, before glaring and muttering a certain expletive at his sister. Temari hotly snapped her head to glare down her brother. Where did you learn to swear like that? From you. He rebutted quickly. Where did you learn to swear like that? That's a secret, is that so? Enough. They're coming out. Yeah, by the way, Kankuro frowned. Why did you drag me over here anyways? Either you said it was family business. So is this one of your newly created bonding moments? Spying on your boyfriend? Temari had, after a particularly frightening day where Gaara's killing intent had been felt across the village, come home to gravely inform him that the shell of a family was pathetic, and that they should change that. Kankuro had, having a vague feeling that he too would like some kind of anything with his family, agreed. He was already regretting it. Then again, they had known each other for years. They had coexisted. It was only fear and mistrust that had separated them. Mistrust of each other and fear of basically everything else, Gaara being the mutual highest terror, with their father following soon behind. It was really only that extra step that was missing. That mutual agreement not to sell each other out for personal safety or gain. An agreement backed by what? Not a damn thing. Well, truthfully it was supposed to be backed by the sibling bond, but that wasn't tangible. It couldn't be used as collateral in case Temari did betray him. It wouldn't appease their father's expectations. Sure as hell wouldn't sate Gaara's bloodlust. But what the hell, he figured it was worth a try. Probably. Well, at least Temari seemed pretty serious about the sibling bond thing. Oh, just shut up. Look, they're coming out. Indeed, exiting from the small taiyaki stand, the sibling pair could observe Naruto unzipping a corner of the waist-low curtains. Such constructions were necessarily different in Tsunade due to the eternal wind there, and stepping out. Gaara followed him out and Temari couldn't be sure at this distance, but she thought she saw the stand owner pass out from relief. However, the stand owner's relief was Kankuru's consternation. It's Gaara, run for it. Tsunade, streets X, huh. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, Naruto sighed, that the taiyaki was incredibly dry. Sorry Naruto-senpai, huh? For what? Naruto rounded on the smaller boy, perplexed. The dry food. Gaara hesitated. He was pretty new to the whole human interaction thing. Especially with a peer he didn't ever want to shun him. Especially with a peer that didn't explode in a shower of blood and guts once Shukaku became exited. Or bored. Or anything, really. I don't know. Hey. Naruto rested a hand on the boy's shoulder. You know you don't have to call me senpai. Well, not yet. Gaara fought the flinch. He wasn't really used to human contact. Well, not like living humans who were all in one piece, but that was beside the point. Tsunade, rooftops X, make yourself as unthreatening as possible. Assume the fetal position. Kankuro, trying not to holler, urged. Assume the fetal position. Temari resisted the urge to slap some sense into her brother. Would you cut that out? No, you cut it out. If I die, do you know whose fault it'll be? He demanded, having, of course, assumed the fetal position. You better be prepared to be the distraction. Take responsibility. Oh oi. Even I'm still afraid of Gaara. But he's not even coming up here, you know. And I'm telling you Naruto-kun is there, so. She frowned. He was quiet for days. Not a single problem. He insisted from his fetal position. Don't you think that's a little weird? He's fallen behind his kill quota. I don't want to know what he'll do to the next person he sees. Now get down. Temari stood. They're leaving? Kankuro, come on, damn it. I said get down. Kankuro hollered, tackling his sister to the rooftop. He'll see you. What are you doing, you idiot? Just shut up. Why'd I have to help you? This sibling bond thing, he growled low, is just way too troublesome. Temari sighed and continued giving Kankuro that flat look. That's really touching and stuff, but I'm telling you it's safe.